It's time to get yourself on the internet because, as we all know, a dream is just a great idea that doesn't have a website yet. It's time to make that dream a reality with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a unique website, and you can showcase your work, your blog, you can publish content, sell products and services of all kinds. All it takes is just a few clicks. They've got award-winning 24/7 customer support, and you can customize everything. Look and feel, settings, products, all that stuff. And as you know, they've got beautiful templates created by world-class designers. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. It's easy for you. Head over to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial right now. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Hello, hi. It is Tuesday, May the 1st.
May the 1st be with you, Brad.
2018. Thanks.
Just gavel this meeting of the anime club into order. Treasurer Ben Pack is here.
The numbers are looking bad. We spent all our money on anime.
Scrolls and stuff.
The first rule of anime is don't buy it.
We've got pillows.
Stream it with
Crunchyroll.
I ended up in the. So you ended up in the yearbook photo for the anime club?
Yeah, I was going to support a friend who really wanted to start the club, and to start a club, you had to have 10 bodies in a room and 10 people saying, I'm going to come to this every week, even though I had no intention at the time. He was watching some weird shit, man. I don't know.
Dragon Ball anime.
Like not even Tenchi Muyo or something.
That's not weird.
It's not weird.
To me, it was weird to me at the time, who didn't even really know about Dragon Ball. But
High School Boys is the target demo for Tenchi Muyo, though.
Sure, yeah. I just felt weird in that room, and then I felt even more weird when the yearbook came by to take a official club photo, and I was just there in the background.
You could have said no.
You
could have said no, but no. You wanted to be forever immortalized.
My friend.
Right.
Well,
My huge weeb friend.
there goes your political career.
Yeah. I think I ended up in yearbook photos for the Chess and Games Club.
Nice.
Are
those two separate clubs?
No, it was one club where if you wanted to play chess, which is a game,
Yeah.
or games, meaning not video
Checkers?
games, meaning D&D.
Okay.
Really. I think I ended up in one of their yearbook photos because they had a separate stash of chocolate milk for sale at lunch. And they were on the other side of the campus. And so you could go to the cafeteria like an asshole and stand around with a bunch of dipshits, or you could just hang out in this weird alcove near people who were probably playing
Practicing
D&D.
dark magic.
Yeah, and just sneak in there and buy chocolate milk that way. And then it turned out that the friend of mine who showed me where that was like, why don't you come in? We'll play. It felt like a weird religious, I had been culted into this thing.
Come here and drink this Kool-Aid.
Yeah, hey, we got this chocolate. We're selling the chocolate milk. You're hanging out here anyway because it's away from all the dipshits at the cafeteria.
You ever see a dice with this many sides?
What is this dice? And as soon as I said, what is this dice? They knew they had me. And I played D&D exactly twice. And I think I ended up in the yearbook photo.
And then you went back to chess.
Yeah, then I went back to chess.
I feel like
which is not a game.
I was going to say I have
life.
very explicitly seen people refer to chess as a sport recently.
Oh, fuck that. I mean,
That's
like saying
mental
Overwatch
It's
is
a B sport.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. All right. B sports.
They play it in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do they really?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, there is an Olympic chess team.
What is the sport?
Or actually,
what is
no,
the
I'm
sport
sorry.
Thing is...
I'm sorry. They have applied
Oh,
for inclusion in the next Olympics.
for 20 years now. Trying to get in.
I thought they were already in.
The
Not
mental
yet, huh?
sports.
If they were doing chess boxing,
According-
then I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
According to this story from the Telegraph entitled "Chess at the Olympics,"
Great title. really gets
really
you.
leading you in. You're like, wait, what?
It's gonna happen.
But the Olympic is for real sports, not B sports.
Chess and bridge are among 26 sports that have applied for inclusion at the 2020 Olympic Games.
Bridge.
Imagine the people getting
Olympic
like the bridge
bridge
application together and be like, no, we're gonna get them bridge. A lot of people play bridge.
Come here, Sonny. You want to join my Olympic bridge team?
Other
If you keep talking like that, yes.
I don't even know what it is. Bridge a card game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Other contenders include softball and squash.
What about cribbage?
How about pinochle?
I don't know.
How about go fucking fish?
Let me see if I can find the list. I want to see the full list of 26.
Olympic fucking Uno.
Hang on.
Oh,
Damn it. I want to find this list of 26 games that want
Draw
to win the Olympics.
2 for America.
Oh no. Draw 4, comrade.
They don't have the full list here.
Actually, the Russian team was banned. The Russian Uno team was banned from the Olympics for steroids.
Oh man.
yeah.
That's
Sorry.
That's a bummer, but what are you gonna do? Yeah. I felt like they were lifting those cards pretty fucking. They were playing them with an authority
just
that
slam
could
it
not
down
be
and crack the
natural.
table
It's
in
like this
half.
isn't dominoes, son. Come on.
I have been meaning to watch that documentary about the Russian doping scheme because this shit
yeah.
is insane. I don't know if you heard
No,
about it.
I've not.
The
No.
stuff they had
Deep.
going on, they were like using like false walls in the testing facility and all
Oh,
kinds
cool.
of all kinds of insane.
It's like real ass espionage.
yeah, like insane spy shit to smuggle like tainted urine out
Right.
and smuggle clean urine in and stuff like that. Like it sounds fascinating.
Piss is serious.
I was gonna say that's well beyond like the fake dick scheme. Of like,
I'm sorry, you'll have to expand on that.
it's my ska band.
the fake dick scheme.
Yeah, we're pretty big and growing. But yeah, no, like smuggling a tube of urine.
Oh,
Like there's
okay.
stuff like if you just start looking into just like people who are just like I need to pass a drug test and
Yeah.
I'm a
If
dirtbag.
you're looking at the back
Like-
of, say, a High Times magazine.
Right, exactly. Then there are people like, we'll sell you a water weenie with a heating element that you can strap to your leg and hope for the best. And selling
And turn some heads at the same
right,
time.
yeah. Like selling you this fake urine that they're like, no, trust us. This stuff is like the real thing.
With a heating element.
Yeah, because it has to be a certain temperature,
I
right?
suppose,
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't test it right away. Like it's got to cool off.
Well, they take a little sip
I don't
to
want
make
to
sure it's
strap a
real.
heating
Yeah,
element
no,
to me.
They want to make sure. I think that's probably, but you do hand it off. I bet if you
Yeah.
handed it off and people were like, "This is room temperature," hey, especially if you're in a situation where they're looking at you going, "Look, man, we're."
They
pretty
pop
sure.
the cap. It's not steaming.
Yeah.
Hold on, I
we
just
we
need
looked at your
15
Instagram.
minutes.
We know.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, you came in with dreadlocks for the interview and you came in and your head is completely shaved. I wonder,
You came in with a
Hand
jug
over the
of
water
cranberry
weenie.
juice.
Right. That works, bro. That hella works.
Being that it's May 1st,
Yes.
did you guys know that 5 weeks from now
Oh, fuck.
we'll be heading
I
down
know
to
what
Los
you're gonna-
Angeles?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's
Is it
really
only 5 weeks? Oh, I can't wait.
Well, let's say 5.5.
I actually am
5.5
really
before
excited.
we travel, so it's like 6 weeks until the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Like I love the stuff that we do out there.
Yeah, it'll
Like
be crazy.
the night show stuff. So much fun.
Yeah,
It definitely
the planning and
snuck
booking has
up.
already begun.
Yeah.
I feel like I first heard it's like, oh, it's 100 days away, and now all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
5 weeks.
Like
Yeah.
I am now getting E3 like meeting requests.
I got my first
stuff.
email for I got my first second email that said,
Okay.
"Hey, appointment
Okay.
slots are
Follow up,
filling
yeah.
up fast.
Yeah.
Are you going to book one?" Or and I'm like, soccer. I don't know.
Jan, are you excited?
I'm excited to actually go inside E3 this time,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to hovering outside the loading dock.
That's where the best shit
yeah,
happens.
man,
though.
that's where the action is.
Yeah.
The guy that drove down with me decides, like, oh, Jan, you can handle it. I'm just going to chill in this field over here. And then I didn't see him for 4 hours.
Huh.
Yeah.
You took care of it though.
What was he doing in that field?
Heroin.
An LA? Are we talking about an LA field?
He said he found like a...
That's just dirt, right?
Probably, yeah.
It's concrete and dirt.
Yeah.
He found somewhere to lay down by the convention center. And it's like, Jan, I'll be back.
In 4 hours.
They don't have plants in LA.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
The concrete jungle. They call that. That's
right.
They call that for a reason.
Big Apple.
With
Yeah.
a windy.
city that never.
Are Heelys allowed on the convention floor?
I was with a guy who
I've
was.
seen Heelys.
I don't know. Do you have a gamer pass?
Yeah. If you have a gamer pass, I think they come with Heelys.
Okay.
For just $249. You too can attend E3. I was with a guy who was our previews editor at the time who had a pair of soaps
Soaps?
which you seem like you know what soaps are, but
I have
for
those
people
too.
that don't, they are
I do not know.
It's a pair of shoes that have like a curve in the middle bottom of them.
Okay.
And the idea would be that you would kind of lube up that area and run and jump on rails. And you could do
Gotcha.
kind of rail slides
Yikes.
on your
Gotcha.
shoes.
Got to lube up the kicks.
And I think the idea, the actual idea is when you wouldn't necessarily lube up the shoes, you would soap up the rail.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because like who the fuck's gonna do that? So we were
incredibly dangerous.
walking up Figueroa near the California Pizza Kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to remember if we had been drinking at this point or not, but it seems likely. But at the same time, E3 was so busy that it maybe not. But that's just the kind of guy Ben was. Is he ran at this rail and just jumped up on it and slid for about 2 inches and then fell down and fucking landed on the back of his head. Like, all right, yeah, cool. I think I remember being like, dude, we're in the middle of E3. We don't have time to go to the fucking hospital. Like, for
Now-
this. Just keep your fucking shit together.
As soon as you said which previews editor you were talking about,
Yeah.
this became unsurprising.
Totally. Yeah.
How many people end up at the hospital due to E3 related shenanigans? Do you think every year? Over under a dozen.
Let's see.
Now that it's open to the public.
I'm trying to think back on like the history of personal injuries.
Right.
I can't think of a lot.
I don't want to jinx it. I'm injury prone.
I know some people who like got in fights at parties or other or had like incidents or
I
like
almost
if they
did.
got too drunk at a party and like fell on their face and cracked themselves open and had to go to
okay.
the hospital.
Yeah.
Like I've heard a few stories like that. Like people just can't handle themselves.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. It's electric. The atmosphere.
That's right.
is
Yeah. When you get
just-
the
when
electronic 3 is around you.
Your fifth time after your 5th Subway sandwich in 2 days,
Right.
you're just like, wow, I can do
you're
anything.
because I don't care if I live or die anymore. I'm mostly made a cold cut combo at this point.
That's a good one.
Yeah, cold cut combo.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
You
know,
can't go wrong.
it's a good like quick sandwich. Like I don't have time for you to be a full sandwich artist. Just throw me together
Yeah.
a cold cut
Just
combo.
give me the processed meat.
They've got
And-
those vendors right outside that do the bacon dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm actually pretty fond of those.
Yeah, I got one of those last year. It's
Not bad.
yeah.
I feel like I
Not
That's
rarely
helpful
have
in a pinch.
time to. Yeah, I don't know. They get food in the booth,
Yeah.
which if you're there when the food shows up is good. If you're not
If
there
you're
when the
lucky.
food shows up, it's gone.
Some ham duets will always be hanging around.
Oh, I love a nice ham duet.
Yeah, the ham duet Twitter account became active again
That's right.
last week.
E3 ham
it's
duet
time.
reactivated.
That's E3 Watch
E3 is,
2018.
E3 is definitely upon
It
us.
said "sup."
Ugh.
Ah!
I ate a lot of ham duets that
Yep.
year,
Yeah,
and haven't seen them since.
yeah. it's
for
been
all
a
the
while, I think.
for all the talk of the ham duet Twitter account,
think
it
it's been a
sure has
couple
not
of years.
manifested.
Yeah.
I want the ham duet account to like bring. I'm pretty sure I know who runs it. I feel like I know who runs
I
it.
thought I did.
Yeah,
They said it wasn't them.
of course they would say
Could
that.
still be them.
I'm actually
Is ham duets
I'm-
verified?
No,
Thank God.
Yeah, no. But we'll work on getting it verified. I guess actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure it's one of 2 people.
Okay, I think I know one of them.
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
Um.
Anyway, E3's coming.
Yeah.
Preparations are beginning.
Yeah, we're starting to build lists of guests we want to talk to and all this sort of stuff. And Yeah.
Thinking about how we're going to put everything on a truck.
Thinking about if we have a truck.
yeah, we're waiting.
Oh,
We're waiting
boy.
on word about when the truck is gonna come and go and do this stuff, and then hotel stuff has to follow on from that because people will need to be there to unload.
I've
the
got an
truck
easier
and-
idea.
Or not to unload the truck.
We're going to rent a truck and we're going to attach it to your car.
No, that's
No?
not.
That's not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
What if
damn.
we just bring E3 here?
That's
That way we don't have to even get a truck. We just
Yeah.
get everyone in. And when I say here, I mean the CBSI offices.
right.
Yeah.
Because we got 6 floors. Like,
That's true. You
could
could have an
probably
E3
fit
up there.
everyone.
Tell Apple that like they need to not come to work for a few days.
Have you ever
I'm sure they'll
have you ever fantasized about having E3 at Moscone?
No,
No?
I would hate it.
Why?
Because for the same reason that I don't like GDC because it's too close to my house, so I go home.
I know.
And no, because that means that like imagine that if I had to host that show until like midnight or 1 a.m. and then drive an
Oh,
hour
well,
and a
yeah.
half home.
Sure.
Blow my goddamn brains out. It'd be terrible. And then come back first thing in the morning for more E3. No,
It'd be way better for people who live in the city.
yes, I suppose so. But no, that would be way harder on me in terms of actually doing that
Yeah, I
show.
suppose.
For sure. So
I feel like the talk of like E3 is not going to be in LA anymore has kind of died down. I feel like the last 2 years
they had signed some long-term deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through
There was
20 or something.
I
like
think
that?
so. There was talk for a while about what was it, like hockey related, or they were going to tear down one of
they
the
were
halls.
rebuilding.
and-
They're building some stadium or something.
Yeah,
I forget. And they were doing remodeling at the LECC.
right.
Also,
Yeah, so I think between those things, it was like, oh, are they going to have to move it for a couple of years while this other stuff happens? But I think
somebody mentioned Vegas at one point.
Has it ever been in Vegas? Or was
No.
that CES?
There were just the 2 Atlanta years, and every other years.
was it only 2 years in
Yeah.
Atlanta? Okay,
It's
it
97.
seems like more.
97, 98.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife about Atlanta this morning, and
It's a nice place. I like it.
It was so
Let's
hot.
go.
It's so hot.
Hot Atlanta.
Oh,
my God.
don't.
Atlanta in June is
yeah, it was something, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good for
so humid.
like it was really good for like the nightlife aspect of E3.
Yeah.
Because you could just have a lot of outdoor events.
Totally.
And
That's
and
how
it was like a really fun,
how
like
it-
late night city.
That's how I saw Foo Fighters on top of a parking
Right,
garage.
exactly. Yeah, there was that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
There was a couple of restaurants or patios, like really good spots to just kind of hang out.
Yep.
For sure.
E3.
That parking garage where the Foo Fighters played, they were. I'm remembering this right. That was the Sony thing where they were projecting Gran Turismo onto the building across the street,
Ooh.
right, and letting people
Probably.
play it.
Oh, wow.
Play
it?
Yeah.
On the side of a building?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
don't
think that
remember.
was that event.
I don't remember.
Which was cool looking. It was like, man, that's fucking that's a real big ass Gran Turismo over there. Too bad they're not projecting literally any other video game. But there you go. Yeah. E3.
I'm excited.
Let's
go.
How are you guys busying yourselves in advance of E3? In
I'm playing video games.
video game context.
Mm.
We should play it.
God of War.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Still?
I went home Friday and played for about 6 hours so I could beat the story. And then I've been just doing some post-game stuff.
I was gonna ask.
Side quest
There's a
stuff.
lot
I
of
feel like-
side and optional
I feel
stuff
like
to-
this is by far the most number of people I've seen saying like, "Hey, I beat the story, but I can't stop playing it."
Yeah.
Like people just like grinding out materials and going back and finding stuff. It seems to really like keep people going.
Yeah, totally. I just was like, okay. So I basically kind of about when I got halfway through the game, I was like, I'm just going to focus on mainlining it. You know, it has the sort of Metroidvania thing where you're slowly unlocking powers, which help you unlock new areas and puzzles that are like off in the side quests. Like I'm sure you've run into stuff like, oh, I can't pass this yet. Like
brambles.
right,
And
so
stuff
it's
like
the beginning.
That.
Yeah, there's this brambles. There's like the green kind of glowy orb stuff that you can't really fuck with.
Yes.
So yeah, after I beat the game, I have just been basically sailing around Midgard, like poking my head around, finding new little caves. And
what kind of stuff are you finding in the chests? Is it more materials or is it
chests
actual?
is a lot of
loot?
materials. At this point, the only loot I think that I'm gonna find that's better than what I have is like stuff from like really late game quests that kind of open up as you get into the late game.
You find like some of the really late in-game stuff is mostly craftable, or is there like a couple specific items that you want to go?
Yeah, there are
and-
those armor
and find?
sets. Those,
Yeah.
like, named armor.
Yeah, it depends. This game is very tricky to talk about.
Yeah, I've found that out. Yeah.
But you're doing a lot of traveling in this game, and at some point you find yourself in strange places.
Can you always go back, or are there times when they lock you out of?
There are
traveling
a
back and
few
forth?
little story moments where it's like this. You travel to different realms. It happens fairly early on for the first time, but I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that you do that a couple more times in the game. And some of the realms are like completely optional side stuff. There's one that's just like kind of some combat arenas. And by progressing through, you're unlocking materials that you can only find by beating these combat arenas. And then you use those to upgrade the armor from the shop. I'm also finding like a lot of skills, light runic attacks, heavy runic attacks. I found a skill for my son that summons a talking squirrel that comes out and digs up health.
Oh shit!
He just runs around and
Wow.
like he's always pissed off. He's always like, "You've interrupted me from very important work," and he's just like running around digging up
The
stuff.
squirrel
like,
is saying this.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
man.
Wow.
Like there's
I found a
just
couple other-
weird shit that you find.
That's awesome.
and all of its powers are
They
kind of
don't talk.
animal themed.
Yeah.
So I thought they would all be pretty straightforward. Like the first one I found is like you summon like wolves
Wolves,
made
yeah.
of light that run around.
Does
And I
he
was like,
get a new slot for those powers? Because I'm trying to think where that would go.
Yeah, it's like his.
It's his runic
It's
slot.
his
yeah.
runic
Okay.
like ultimate slot. It's the one where if you hold down, shoot, he does
I
a
guess
thing.
maybe I haven't gotten that yet.
I can't remember if the first one like you find in story or if it's
I
just
feel like you do because I think I got the wolf one also.
Okay.
I think there is a first one you get.
But yeah, I have like 5 or 6 of those by now. Yeah, I just am really enjoying going around the world. I've at this point I have all of the combat tree stuff unlocked, so I'm finding myself like. But honestly, I'm really enjoying the combat. I feel like the ability to interact with your son while you're fighting is a really cool mechanic that I feel like
That's a nice layer. Yeah.
I see a lot of people underutilizing. Like
Yeah.
you can really use him to kind of set up like jungle combos.
Yeah, I was gonna
or-
ask like the obvious thing is just hammer on square in a fight and he just keeps shooting arrows. But yeah, do you get into the higher level stuff?
especially as you upgrade his his tech tree and like he has a certain type of arrow that causes a lot of stun damage where it kind of hits once and then it explodes. So if you can actually time those where you like stick a few in them and it's going to explode and you like knock them up in the air and the explosions will keep an enemy in the air and then you can just keep pummeling them and get that stun bar all the way
Yeah,
full.
like the armor set I've got on him right now, his attacks do more damage when they are in the air. So
Yeah.
like you want to set up all these combos based on the stuff you have equipped.
I like that they have the different armor sets for your son based on like what kind of style you want.
Yeah.
Do you want him to just focus on shooting?
Yep.
Do you want him to get like up in the
Health
action?
for me. Yeah.
Or do you want him to like be able to recover from attacks more quickly? And then like I realized as I was playing, like, oh, I can have him like while I'm executing, I can have him start on another guy, or like summon his like animal spirit or whatever.
By just like mashing square or whatever while you're doing that. Okay.
Yeah, totally. So like if you're executing a guy and you have a camera pointed at another guy in the background, if you just start hammering, Atreus will just start shooting, and so you can just kind of like get really good chains going that way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really enthralled by this game. I'm already thinking about playing it again on a harder
Whoa.
difficulty now that
does it have like new game plus type stuff, or would you just have to start it over?
I think I'd just start over. I think this is what's probably going to end up happening is I'm going to do as much of the side stuff as I can. I don't think I'm going to platinum it. There's a lot of stuff like the Odin's Eyes, the little ravens you have to
Oh,
find. There's
yeah.
like 50 of those, and I
right.
don't really think I'm going to go through and like find all those or all the lore markers, those like blue tablets that you have him read.
I like that the map will tell you like how many things you have to find in a certain area.
Yeah.
So even though there's like 50 some of those ravens, it's differentiated by like where you are.
It'll
in the
help
map.
you narrow it
Yeah,
down
yeah,
at least a
pretty
little
fast,
bit
yeah.
if you
Super
did
helpful.
want to do that stuff.
It's also does something really cool with the fog. Like as you explore areas, the fog parts on the mini map, so you can kind of like once I was like, okay, I'm going to explore. I was able to open up my map and immediately know, okay, I haven't gone to this corner of Midgard or over here. And I just I went through and I found this whole really long kind of puzzly, not quite a dungeon. There was like a few sets of enemies, but it was all based on like axe puzzles, just like throwing the axe, nothing special. So I realized like I could have found this relatively quick and I just completely missed it. And it was a good like hour-long just chunk of the game that I would have never found unless I was just going through and trying to knock off things on the mini map. Pretty happy with the how it ended. Obviously, I won't talk about that specifically, but I think I will say I'm excited for another God of War game.
What?
Okay.
If they decide that they
Making
want to make
another one?
now that they have this engine, it'd be a shame if they didn't do anything with it.
Corey Barlog alluded to that stuff, didn't he, in that interview we
He
did?
did.
I'm sitting here trying to think if I dreamed that or if he said it off mic or if it was in the interview.
No, he talked around it obviously in a way, but
Like other directions they might go.
Son
yeah,
of
well,
War.
in the next one.
he specifically mentioned that before, like when they were still in the very ethereal stages of we want to make a God of War game, he was talking about how it was down to Egyptian lore versus
That's what I was
Nordic.
thinking of was when he mentioned
And
that.
it's
So
it's funny that he mentioned that because if not, I would have totally missed it. But there are a couple little nice subtle nods to like Egyptian
Oh, wow.
mythology
Okay.
in the game. a little bit of symbology.
If that's where the series goes, just Kratos knocking off every pantheon of gods in existence, like I'm way.
I wonder if they feel like they
into
dodged
that.
a bullet a little bit by not doing Egypt because of what Assassin's Creed ended up doing.
Especially because that game really leans into the mythic god stuff.
So that might be.
They must be really
that
happy.
might have been a lot of Egypt.
They must be really happy they made that choice.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like going through all the side stuff. Especially some of the more end game content. It does one of those weird things where it's a game where you're traveling with a companion, and sometimes you'll enter an area where you and Kratos and Atreus' relationship, goes up and down throughout the game. Obviously, like the game is about kind of their relationship. They're having conversations that like would make sense maybe more towards the beginning because it's an area that you could have found in the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
sure.
this doesn't sound like stuff you would be talking about now. Like after everything you guys have gone through, like the way Atreus is questioning Kratos' decision making on this certain thing, or Kratos is getting mad at Atreus for this sort of thing. It's like it would make sense in the first third of this game when this area I could have gone to and experienced it at the time, but now it's a little weird. But on the other hand, like the game, I mean, the story ends at the end of the game, but a lot of I don't want to blow anyone's mind here, but a lot of the stuff that they're talking about after the game, just a lot of the kind of meaningless conversations they're having are just as good as some of the stuff that like they go through in the main story. They're just like, it's Kratos teaching him lessons about like, know, so one of the more common side quests you'll find is there will be these wayward spirits, and you just walk up to them and they're like, oh, for my soul to ascend, I need you to go find my wife's bones, or like, go kill this monster that killed my crew, or sort of stuff. And so as you're doing it, Kratos and Atreus are talking about like, Atreus will be like, why is he mad that monster killed his crew? Like, isn't it, out of his responsibility? And then Kratos is talking to him about leadership and stuff. And I think they're doing a really good job to set Atreus up to be like a meaningful character in this franchise, like down the line with further games. I'm excited to see what they do there. And I'm excited to see if they add any sort of DLC to this, because
there's no season pass.
They've explicitly said no season pass.
Right.
There are areas that they allude to. There are things that they talk about where I don't know if this is like, maybe there's an expansion and they get into that stuff, or maybe this is in another game.
There's stuff just on the map, even like where I'm at, that I look at and go like, if you could plug in a whole side quest right here if you wanted to.
Especially the way the game is set up already.
Exactly.
It formatted
the
for
the hub
little
nature of it kind of gives you that opportunity for sure.
As long as it's not just like combat arenas or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it
totally.
sounds like they already
Yeah.
did that, so
Yeah.
it's, probably don't really need it.
And I should say that the combat, or they do some really unique things with their combat arenas. They have some really cool objectives. Like one, for example, is like you have to kill enemies in these zones, and so these like kind of domes will appear. And you have to like lead them into there and fight them in there. And sometimes like the first wave start out and they're like the really slow moving enemies, and then by the end it's like the dark elves, that are like flying around a lot.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like some like Destiny combat mechanics.
Honestly,
raid stuff.
it does remind me a
Yeah.
lot of Destiny. That realm specifically.
I had a hard time grouping enemies. Trying to group a bunch of dark elf sounds infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, you try and do it one at a time, because you only have to get like 4 or 5 in the zone, and not at once or anything. But you have like 10 minutes to do it or whatever.
I wonder if they get the next one out a lot faster now that they've kind of
Got the engine.
figured out this new format and kind of what direction they're going in.
Yeah.
Because he kept saying, it was like this took 5 years from start to finish.
And even stuff you read, like I was reading a thing about, specifically it was about from like the team that figured out how to do Kratos' axe throw and recall. And it was just like this, 500-word thing about, hey, we were I read this at the time of release, and it was like, we were working on this 5 months ago. And it's just like, that seems like such a core mechanic of that game.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to imagine that game without that like throw and recall thing.
Right.
And the fact that it took them that long just to nail it shows that there is an incredible amount of work put into this game.
Yeah.
And I definitely can see them using
that
this
blog
engine.
post was fascinating. I love these like exhaustive breakdowns of all the attention to detail and
Yeah.
stuff like that, because you don't look at it and notice it consciously, but you realize that it all adds up to like he was talking about, like, I'm trying to think some of the stuff they tweaked toward the end, like
How long it takes the axe to get back to you.
Like-
They were
like-
yeah.
and like God, what was the big one was like that they stopped you from moving. They stopped you from doing anything while you were recalling the axe, because they wanted it to be like this like investment. It's like, okay, you have to sacrifice mobility to get the axe back, but they were like, no, that's too slow and boring. And then they were like, now we don't want him to look at the axe. We want him to just sort of stick his hand out and grab it, because of course he's like super good at catching the axe.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's some really interesting stuff.
And I eventually upgraded a tech tree thing where if the axe is out, I can hit triangle and it like comes back as he does like a slam attack.
Oh wow.
So I imagine that was its own whole thing of dealing with that.
It's it's like they say with a lot of games. I imagine the bigger the game, the longer it takes with some of the stuff. But like that idea of just like that stuff, the games only really come together at the end.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's theoretical and like we're pretty sure this will be really fun, but this system needs to be finished, and this system needs to be finished, and this system, and that last 10% or whatever it is.
I mean, if you think about the way games have to be made, it's just a bunch of people in different disciplines all working in parallel, so
Right.
nobody is done with their-
Everyone's hoping that
like-
everyone else is
Yeah,
like
just
doing
like-
it.
let's just merge all this stuff in and
unless you're
everyone
like,
check in and we're gonna build
Yeah.
it and see.
like unless you're like the scriptwriter, you can't be done until the game is done, basically. So everybody is kind of finishing at the same time. And
Yeah.
Corey was talking about, like, he said that there were people on staff who thought the game was going to be like bad just because they were so in their own little thing, and like they didn't necessarily not like what they were working on, but they're like, I don't see how this could come together and be a video. And then like when they sat down and started playing the game, they saw how everything.
I
came
imagine
together.
that just like having the vision of just like, okay, all these individual pieces are not there yet, but but being able to look at all that stuff and still see it and be like, okay, if this gets to this exact place, it'll be good. This one needs to come in between here and here, and I think we'll be fine. This place, this end's never going to come together, but it'll still be okay. And being able to like see all that stuff and still have that faith that like, this will come together well enough. That sounds fucking hard.
Yeah. Sounds like you need a really good leader.
Just
somebody who's really
to
good
put-
at.
To put that number of years into a thing, to crunch that long, to give up that many weekends, all that other stuff along the way. Fuck, man, like there's a resilience that takes that I don't know that I have it. I don't know that I would have it.
It's a lot of blind faith and like a mixture of.
Well, my faith, like like also tempered with actual experience.
Yes,
I
I
was
was
like, well,
being
yeah,
extremely
yeah,
confident in your work.
Yeah,
and
like I
the
know this
people
team
around
is
you.
capable of this, and I know this person will make sure this ends up fine. It's just like all that stuff along the way. Yeah, that sounds fucking scary.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say about God of War, for now at least, is I've had a fair amount of people like ask me, you hear a lot like this game is so different than the other ones. Like, people are still kind of curious. Like, are you really sure I can have a great time with this, even though I've never played the old God of Wars? And as somebody who, like, I think I read the Wikipedia plot of God of War one day because I was bored, and that was the total of my extent of knowledge of the series. I got an incredible amount of enjoyment from it. I think that there are moments that are good callbacks. There's moments that he talks about his past, and stuff like that. And I think it's handled in a way where they give you just enough information to kind of know what's going on. I do think that it can definitely add to your enjoyment, but I don't think that you should stray away from this game if you think that not playing those first 3 God of Wars would affect your time with
That's
it.
the impression I get
Yeah,
from what I've played so far. Also,
It works as a standalone.
Totally.
for sure, absolutely. I made you guys sit down and look at this already, but I played a bunch of State of Decay 2 recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
There's a lot going on in that game.
That game is pretty top heavy. Do you like spreadsheets?
no.
Well, no, actually.
Numbers?
I
like it when they go up.
Ugh.
As I said in the video, the numbers go up, but they
Yep.
also go down.
I'm out.
So the game is a harsh master.
I like up numbers.
It really just looks like a better version of the first game.
Yeah.
It does look really good.
It's it's basically kind of a fine open world action game, but with this crazy management layer on top of it. that makes the open world matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was just the action game, it'd be like, all right, this is fine, whatever. But-
yeah.
Some really good personality to the characters as well.
I mean, you've got all these different survivors in your posse, and they've all got personality traits, and they
Really
like,
weird personality traits.
Yeah,
One's
like
a
the
nudist.
Ultimate frisbee fan.
That one dude is and that, like that raises his skills or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, that game's got a really good dark sense of humor to a lot of the character design. But it's a game for masochists. Like
That was the impression I got.
Like, it is harsh.
Like I am usually one of the last people to complain when games don't let you pause.
so, I mean,
But for me, it's always hung up on like, I'm fine if you can't pause as long as there's a really good reason for it.
I cannot say 100% for sure that there's no way to pause. I just
Okay.
never found one in the time that I
Yeah.
had with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think to ask him. But most of the ways you would think it would pause do not pause. So,
Right.
like going to the map, going to, I think even the settings, it doesn't. Maybe if you go to like graphics settings, it might
All
stop.
right. Well, if I can just sit at the graphics settings
think.
menu,
I forget.
Okay.
But none of the in-game mechanics, like messing with skills or allocating resources in your base or looking at the map, none of that stuff stops the action. So you can at least hear what's going on, but you might get fucked up.
And what's the multiplayer? Is it kind of a drop-in scenario?
Yes,
Okay.
basically, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
probably
like
makes sense that
You
you
drop
can't
drop
pause.
into the host's world.
yeah, it's host and joiner sort
Yeah.
of setup. It's not like you can't have a fully shared world. You just bring your characters into their world.
Yeah, it
Which-
bugs me that's like that's a barrier to pausing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It seems
I
like
guess
it.
so.
It
But-
seems like it should be like, hey, if I set up a closed game, let me fucking pause it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I pee. Sometimes.
Eh,
Like right now.
I just keep a jar down there.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
that
Yeah.
works.
Right.
I'm cathing right now.
Mm.
Okay.
If you have a jar, why do you need? Nope. Yeah. Live your life.
Overflow.
Follow your bliss.
Yeah.
Overflow.
This catheter's easier to hide. You can walk around with it.
Yeah, you smuggle it in, and then you just got it there.
The
It's
water
right, you
weenie.
Make sure it's the right temperature,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's my side business. I sell my piss.
Oh,
I am super excited about that
Completely
game,
clean.
but I get why people are skeptical.
yeah, no, like,
Like,
I
like
get
you
I
have to
get
be
why you
down-
liked the first game and
Yeah.
and why you are excited about this one. But
Yeah.
man, every single second of that video you were showing me, I was like, dude,
I mean, like, yeah, characters have permadeath. Like, your base has upkeep, so you're burning resources just as the clock ticks.
Yeah.
You know, you have to constantly be going out and getting stuff.
Did it seem like this was a little bit more digestible though? Like,
Absolutely.
You played the first one and
Yeah,
it was
I stopped.
still
playing,
got in
I-
over
I-
your
I
head.
stopped
but,
playing the first one because it was inscrutable.
But
Basically, Like,
but
it
this
just-
one seems a little
Yeah.
easier to.
you-
Well, it seems like the
okay.
menus are just better at
Yeah.
letting you know what the fuck is going
everything
on.
has tooltips on it, like red and green text all over the place, so it's super easy to say, "Oh, this is bad, this is good." I
Yeah.
see why these things are interacting the way that they are.
But-
But the first game had like none of that.
Like no tutorial.
Yeah, they kind of. We didn't get to play at the beginning of the
Oh,
game,
sure.
but they
Okay.
talked. They talked like there's not a long tutorial. They just sort of throw you in, let you
Okay.
figure it out. But
So-
like,
Yeah.
is there a story? Because you don't really have like a named protagonist.
yeah, I
right?
think the first game had a little bit of story, but not really.
Okay,
like-
so it's more just like
Like
survival.
the amount of story you would need to support this like nameless, like
like a
randomly
cutscene at the beginning.
like randomly generated characters who have like stock dialogue. Yeah,
okay.
it's not super narrative heavy.
Okay.
You make the story.
Hmm.
You
Are
Okay.
they
All right.
randomly
There's
generated?
zombies.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
okay.
so. Yeah,
Huh,
I'm
okay.
almost positive. Yeah, yeah. I am super excited for it. But yeah, it's gonna be
It's out next month, right?
I think late this month, like
Okay.
tail end of the
Oh,
month.
right. It's May now. Yeah.
Yes.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
Were the vehicles that slippery in the first game?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Seemed like you were having an awful lot of fun.
I don't
driving
think that-
around.
Yeah, those vehicles are a lot of fun. The first game was such a mess on the 360. That was another reason I stopped playing it.
I love that the passenger can just like, as you're zooming by a zombie, open up the
Yes.
door, and smack the
maybe,
shit out
maybe
of
the
them.
best thing in that game for sure.
Yeah.
Y'all play anything else?
I played a bit of a game called Muffled Warfare, which is early access on Steam right now.
What was that?
Muffled Warfare.
Speak up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Muffled Warfare.
It's a multiplayer first-person shooter.
The War of the Mufflers.
The catch is that all the characters are blind.
Oh yeah.
And so it's an echolocation system where like any noise that's made is reflected visually on the map as this nice, like almost like vector looking rendition of the world. Like it doesn't fill in with color. It's just like a black and white kind of thing that fills in. So you have a scanner dart you can fire to other parts of the level and it'll fill in there for a couple of seconds.
Cool.
Anytime anyone fires, they, where they the spot they hit fills in briefly because a bullet will hit a surface over there. Them firing generates noise, so they fill in a little bit, and so you kind of you see sound. And so you're walking around this mansion level. There's only a few levels in it right now. and kind of making your way around, and it turns it very naturally into a stealth situation of just like, if I crouch, I make less noise. So that's the distance that my visual is going to transmit is lessened if I crouch and walk that way. And so it becomes like, okay, can I hole up here and make zero noise for a while, wait for someone else to make some noise and fuck them up? But as soon as I start shooting, everyone on the map's going to see me doing it.
All eyes on you.
So
to
yeah.
speak.
It's really an interesting mix of just like, okay, you need to really kind of pick your shots and be smart about when you decide to strike to make sure you can finish the job and then hopefully kind of creep away before anyone else finds you. It's got a decent chunk of weapons, like kind of a flat cannon, Unreal flat cannon kind of feeling thing.
All right.
It's got a sniper rifle, which seems like a really weird thing to put in the game. I'm not really sure where that fits.
I need like a big AoE type things.
The flat cannon is
Flat
kind of
cannon, yeah.
will sort of do a shotgun style damage.
What's the setup? Like just kind of a death match?
Yeah, it's just a free for all.
First to whatever.
Yeah.
Can you like always see your immediate surroundings? Because it seems
No.
like it'd be nothing really.
Yeah.
Like stepping doesn't make noise.
Stepping makes noise
what I
that'll fill
mean,
it in
like-
momentarily.
Okay.
So
So if you're standing still and there's no noise, you see
Black
literally
screen,
nothing.
yeah.
Huh.
How easy is it to maneuver? How many obstacles are there? Do you feel like it's like a crowded world, or is it like a lot of hallways?
Well, it's hallways and open areas, and the mansion level that I played the most. I guess there's a banquet table in one room. Oh, you know what you will see? You will see power ups frequently. So like a battery that'll recharge your health or something like that. You'll see that kind of spinning, and so eventually like those landmarks actually will stand out a little bit. And be like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm in this room, and this is here, and this is here.
No mini map?
No mini map, and it has bot support, which is good because it's a multiplayer early access shooter on Steam.
Yep.
So getting players together is not always the easiest. So I didn't play against humans, but they it seems like that's the thing for multiplayer games on Steam now is all of them just say, hey, join our Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're looking to get a game
going.
going, join our Discord and try to find players there. I'm like,
I guess. Yes.
Yes,
That is a good way to connect.
That's a
if
proper
you really,
solution.
Yeah.
But also, I'm on like 9 Discord servers now. I can't.
When
I
they
can't join
brought
anymore.
Battlefield Heroes back, you had to join their Discord to get into the game.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
That was that unofficial. That got shut down.
Yeah,
right?
that got shut down real quick.
Yeah. It's a really neat look. This thing, and when you fire a rocket launcher, like it's that sound carries in a way that fills in an area of the map for a little bit longer than a pistol shot would, and stuff like that. So the number of different like considerations you make along the way, it's fascinating. And I had a good time with it. It's neat. It's a neat trick for sure.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. And then you level up and unlock more parts. So, like everyone's robots, so you unlock like different heads for the robot and legs and stuff like that. So you can kind of
Do you unlock
swap
the
stuff
ability to
around.
feel?
Definitely not.
How about love?
Good.
No love.
No love.
But you do respawn with a different. You choose like what bonus you want when you respawn, and sometimes one of the options will be decoy ammo.
Okay.
And so you can send out
That's a lot like love.
decoy version of your robot, and it will stomp around and make noise. And so you can watch people
In a way
fucking-
that is obvious that it's not you.
Right.
Or
not always. Maybe if I played more, I would see the decoys a lot more. But it just looks like another robot walking, and so you can watch people play themselves by shooting at your decoy and just lie there and just like, okay, I'm gonna wait for them to shoot the decoy, realize it's the decoy, and then take them out. It's a really neat idea. It's a really neat idea. We'll see if other people play it. That's kind of the catch. Is it's
I'll check it out.
still a
Is it free to play?
no, it is not. That's like $20, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I almost got my Dante set.
Okay.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very close. I got the hair. I got the jacket and everything. I just
Are
need
there
the
stats on the
pants.
hair?
There are stats on the hair.
Great.
Good.
They're actually really good stats too. Like it'll give you defensive bonuses to fire, to ice, and I think thunder. The major
This is for
ones.
Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah, this is for Monster.
Oh,
Hunter.
Oh, okay.
What
All right.
else?
I thought you were
What
just like
else?
cosplaying or something.
Do those
Yeah,
Dante
that too.
parts go on your custom character? Is it like the character you made with Dante hair, or does it
Damn
just,
right.
Okay, so it doesn't just make you look like the Dante model.
No,
That's cool.
And they're individual parts too, so you can
Okay.
mix and match.
Which Dante? Is it the good Dante or old Dante?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But the
drawing
old
a line in the sand.
The old, yeah.
Wow. Okay. well,
white-haired Dante
forget it.
with the leather jacket.
Yeah, fuck that Dante.
Fucking
New Dante's good.
man. But no, his sword's really
Which
cool
you
too. I've got that. Just one more piece. I haven't done much with the Kulve Terra.
I think you mean Dante.
That's the raid that just came out like a couple weeks
Okay.
ago. I
Are
haven't
those
really.
the same thing?
No, they're different
Oh,
events.
okay, separate.
Yeah, they're separate. But I really haven't done too much in that. It's only open for a few more days, so I really got to get in there and start grinding out.
Man, that game is such a commitment. With all these time limited things.
I'm completely
Like,
committed to it.
yeah,
The
yeah.
only thing that broke me away was God of War.
Like I guess it's great for people like you that are that into it. But
Yeah.
like if you're like sort of casually into it, it's just kind of scary.
kind of daunting. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of the stuff is kind of end game stuff too. So it's like, yeah, you wouldn't even be able to play like the Dante quest or anything like that. But yeah, I'm still having a great time. They've been updating this fairly regularly and keeping me happy. That's for sure.
Cool.
I dig it.
Cool.
Yeah.
You'll play any of the games?
Advance Wars 2.
Play
That game's
anything?
pretty
Okay.
good.
Oh, word.
Okay.
It's got, actually, I've got a. Advance Wars 2 is okay. The AI sucks.
Which one is that still GBA?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
second GBA one.
Okay. What are you playing it on? Oh.
A GBA. What do you?
Yeah,
Game
Game
Boy
Boy
Advance.
Advance.
There's multiple GBAs. I like talking
That's-
about
what
models
color-
of.
what
I like
color
talking
is
about
it?
models of GBA.
An SP, the OG one.
yeah,
the
th-
second,
yeah,
the
sure,
second
that
SP,
one.
which I don't think had a separate name.
There was a second SP.
Yeah, it
It's a
had-
micro.
Oh god, yeah. There's also a micro.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a better SP with like a better backlight and some other stuff.
News to me.
Very,
Wow.
very minor improvements, but it is definitely better.
I've got an NES skinned one. Oh, it's
Yeah.
That's
I've
the
got that
micro?
one too.
sick. Not a micro.
Oh.
No.
Oh, they made an NES skin.
Yeah, the
SP.
SP,
yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's really good.
They should make another Advance Wars.
They should.
Yes.
Stop
But-
making Fire Emblem. Make Advance Wars.
Yeah,
Let's take a
yes,
break
make
from
an
Fire
Advance Wars.
Emblem.
Fire Emblem fans have gotten theirs.
All I'm gonna say
Yes.
is Into the Breach really made me appreciate that style of game in a way that Advance Wars kind of bungles. Of course, Advance Wars came out a decade ago or whatever, but just having knowledge of the enemy's actions makes Into the Breach a really like cool experience where you can sit down and it actually feels like a puzzle. Advance Wars sometimes it feels like you're getting a little lucky with how the enemy behaves, where they move, what kind of units they prioritize taking down. Like sometimes they'll take out an infantry unit instead of a tank, and I'm just like, okay, I guess you're giving me this for free. But
Yeah, I think I don't miss the chance part of tactics games. Of
Yeah.
Into the Breach, where everything's just concrete. It's like, okay, this is going to do this damage.
Yep.
Going back to something like Advance Wars, just, I don't know, a little hesitant.
I do appreciate the scale of it. Like
Right.
these huge maps where you have like 3 or 4 co's at a time. Like that's something that still hasn't been done to a similar degree. But yeah.
Being able to like swarm the enemy with like all of your pawns or whatever. Yeah, I miss that.
I thought Tiny Metal was like a decent stab at
Yeah.
recapturing the Advance Wars thing. It didn't quite get all the way there.
A little
but
bit too
it
much
was
dialogue.
Okay. Yes, for sure.
A little too anime. And that's coming from someone who is a treasurer of an anime club.
God, man.
Wow.
Advance Wars on the Switch would be so good.
Mm.
Yep.
Switch Wars.
Hmm.
All right. Last call. Video games or bathroom?
Bathroom.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Nope.
Well, I went to a quick party over the weekend.
Yes?
A quick party? Was it like just there for like 20 minutes? And
I
then
just
everyone was like,
ghosted
all right,
afterwards.
everybody get out.
quick.
A spy party.
Oh.
Let me just say that game is great for people watching over your shoulder and
Is
just
it really?
frantically yelling at you. It's like, no, that's a guy, that's a guy, that's a guy.
That sounds cool.
Were you playing with other people there? Or?
Just my girlfriend was watching over my shoulder as I was the sniper, trying to pick out the spy, and I told her like the loose things to like watch out for. It's like, hey, there might be a statue. Someone might say like banana
Banana bread.
Ben, are you?
Banana bread.
But yeah, it's a surprisingly it's a good game to spectate.
Okay.
And then she
Were you
got
just playing against random people online?
just random people
Okay.
online.
Was it easy to get into those matches? Like the first week the game was out, like the online setup was like just impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
It was a little hard.
Yeah.
We were just stuck waiting for a while.
Okay.
But once we got going, I got into like 3 quick games.
Okay.
It starts out with a 3-minute timer. That's correct, yeah.
I think that's right. 3 or 4.
I think it's map
3 or 4?
dependent.
Yeah, it is map
Yeah.
dependent. But the games were going pretty long. I'd say like up to 10 minutes per match, because I was kind of just getting a feel for it.
I felt like I could be wrong, but even playing against Chris Hecker, it was relatively easy to add time to matches.
Yeah,
Like maybe he was letting me get away with it, but it seemed like you could do that pretty well.
So basically how it works is you start with 3 or 4 minutes or whatever, and then you have an action as a spy where you can walk up to the window and check your watch. and that will add a minute to the timer. And where the kind of risk reward of that comes in is every minute you hear a beep. So if you're the sniper and you're not actively watching the timer because you have so many things to look at in the screen, you can kind of like be like, every time you hear a beep, you're like, okay, another minute's gone. You look up at the timer, you're like, okay, it's down to 2 minutes now. And then if all of a sudden it's back up to 3 minutes, and you can like look and see who's at the window, who's looking at their watch, and it gets especially bad when it's down to a minute, because then it beeps at like 30 seconds, 15 seconds or something. So you really, once you're crunched for time, you're probably really going to be watching that window of who's trying to add time.
Do you know does the AI also check its watch? Like, is that?
Yes,
So
and you can
that's
also
not a dead giveaway. Then?
you can also check without adding time. You can do fake checks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, like that's kind of a good example of the level of depth in that game. Like, there's an insane amount of like tricks you can pull to fool the other player. It's really cool.
The highlighting and low lighting is a fantastic feature.
Yes,
but it also definitely bit me in the butt, like it did for us in the Unfinished.
Yeah.
Where I had low lighted the actual spy very early in my game.
Oops.
That I wound up not finding him, and then he just kept running the clock to like adding minutes and minutes.
I played a little spy party this weekend as well. The first time like playing against it was a friend online, but the first time playing not in the same room as somebody else. And yeah, that game, like when Chris Hecker came by, he was really talking up like the esports, like competitive. This is a really deep game, and my first instinct was to kind of be like, yeah, of course you're saying that. Like,
I definitely narrowed my eyes. It was the first time he said esports, but I kind of see it.
Yeah, the depth in which like you can focus on any one objective, really briefly. If you don't know, it's a game where one person's a sniper, one person's a spy. You're trying to figure out who the spy is if you're the sniper. If you're the spy, you're trying to do 4 objectives. It'll be like swap some statues around, talk to the double agent, et cetera, et cetera.
Like record stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up a briefcase.
And so like one of the things is like swap statues. And so, there will be a couple statues on the map, and there are 3 types of statues. So like one of the first things you do when you load into a level is look and see and try and memorize what type of statue every statue is. And then as you're watching, every time somebody walks up to the statue, you might be narrowing in and seeing like if somebody's trying to swap, somebody's, just examining, because you can examine them too and just set them back down without interacting with them. There's so many different ways you can find who the spy is. I've never done it.
Ever?
I've always failed.
Wow.
I failed every time.
Yeah.
Except in the tutorial, and even in the tutorial,
Yeah.
it took me like 4 or 5 tries.
I think there was that last match that I played against him where I figured it out with like 2 seconds left, and I didn't take the shot, and then it ended, and I lost. But I had figured it out, and it's super exciting.
Yeah.
I got 1 spy
Nice.
out of the
Nice.
3 games I played. Yeah, it is very satisfying to get them. And it's one of those games where it's like shorthand becomes like happens almost immediately, because I remember Chris Hecker coming up with like 1-1 or 1-2 for the statues, and then my girlfriend and I were just like coming up with random codes like
Oh, sure.
like BB
BB.
almost happened immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do some more stuff.
We should throw a party.
Yes, for sure. All right. The bathroom is calling. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Doctors, right?
I know, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
And ladies.
It's sometimes it's hard to go to a doctor.
Yeah, I agree.
You got some sensitive topics to deal with that sometimes it's just hard to tell another human being face to face.
Yeah, I just eat apples all the time instead.
That's
I hear that's supposed to help.
that is no solution.
Like 5 a day.
Look, it's easier to keep
Keeps
the
5 doctors away.
Well, okay, if you want to keep 5 doctors away, you still might need the 6th someday. But look here, here's a fact. It's easier to keep the hair you have than replace the hair you've lost.
That's sage wisdom.
Well, yeah, take it from forhims.com.
Oh, yeah?
It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness, all for men. They've got medical-grade solutions, real doctors that you talk to over the internet.
Wow.
Yeah. Easily scheduled.
Yeah.
All
E-doctors.
E-doctors, they will give you a well-known generic equivalent to name brand prescriptions that can help you keep your hair. Forhims.com offers men easier and more affordable access to these prescriptions, products, and medical advice they need.
Okay. I like advice.
Well, hey.
Give me some.
All right, here's some more advice for you. Or actually, it's a key fact.
Okay.
These are not herbal supplements. That's not what they're peddling here.
Okay.
This is prescription solutions.
Medical grade.
Yeah, backed by science.
Okay.
Actual science.
Good.
And no actual waiting room.
Molecules.
That's right.
Probably.
No waiting rooms, no awkward doctor visits. You can save hours by going to 4hims.com and answering a few quick questions. Then they'll have a doctor review it, and they can prescribe you, and everything will be sent directly to your door.
That's really something.
Yeah. It's our modern times,
I know.
right?
I wonder if you could do this in a VR headset.
You know, I bet you could.
Then it would be a V doctor.
Whoa. I don't want to see the V Doctor, but I will if I have to. You can order now and get a trial month of everything you need to keep your hair for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. See the website for full details. It says here this would cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy.
That's a lot.
That sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Go over to 4hims.com/bombcast for those details. That's FORHIMS.com/bombcast.
Saw you pounding one of those energy bars during the break.
So good,
Man, that is maybe the best energy item I have ever consumed.
Tastes like a PB&J sandwich with oatmeal.
Oh, man. And chocolate chips.
I don't know if there's any chocolate in this one, but
Man.
it tastes delicious. So good.
Concentrated energy. Now you're all fueled up and ready to go.
Fucking, let's do news,
For the
man.
news, man, this guy's out of control.
He's juiced up.
That's right.
Somebody's
juiced.
It's like an Aaron Sorkin guy, the way you're talking about the news.
Yep.
Yeah.
Worldwide headlines. Got news from all over this week. There's a bunch of stuff. Belgium. You know them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
These
yeah.
guys are nice.
They got those waffles.
That's right.
Behell, you say.
You know what they
That's where
don't.
French fries came from.
You know what they don't have. Loot boxes.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh, no. What will we do?
Belgium
moving to
has
Belgium.
declared loot boxes illegal.
Yeah.
Good.
Forbidden.
Forbidden.
Take
That's
that.
a different
Illicit.
country.
Proscribed.
How am I going to play my favorite video games now in Belgium?
All of
You're
them.
not.
Yeah, so what... I guess, like, my questions are, what's a loot box to them?
Illegal.
So the games
Oh.
the games they cited are FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Go.
Okay.
Global Offensive. Let's see. The criteria the commission used to decide whether loot boxes constituted gambling were whether there was a game element involved, whether a bet could lead to profit or loss, and whether it was based on chance rather than skill.
All three of those. Tick, tick, tick.
Wait. That
I
second
don't-
one.
Yeah, I don't know if 100% those line
I don't think
up.
there's any betting,
You can do skin betting on Counter-Strike.
like
in the
off-site,
game?
right?
Off-site.
Oh, okay.
But that's not them.
That's not them, but maybe they don't know that.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, you could say
yeah, like
if some items are worth more than others, that's kind of I don't know if that quite qualifies
It's
as
weird.
a bet.
it's random chance and not skill, so there's
Yeah,
that.
there's definitely that.
So, like, I think all those games meet that criteria.
Yeah.
Because FIFA's would be the ultimate team mode.
Yeah.
So
the
then
player
presumably
cards.
Madden would also fall under that as well. If they even ship Madden in Belgium, I don't know. I guess.
Some characters have way better skins than other ones, so definitely that first one.
Like Overwatch is a weird one because you can buy the loot boxes, but also earn them through gameplay.
Yeah, it's all cosmetic.
It's all cosmetic.
I guess though they don't make that distinction really.
Yeah,
They
what-
don't- they don't
Yeah,
say
they
it
don't.
here.
What's the? Sorry, read the criteria again. Let's
Okay.
hear these one more
Okay.
time.
Whether there was a game element involved.
Okay, that's
What does
a
that
really
mean?
I'm
nebulous
not
thing.
even really sure.
Like, do you earn them through
Like if you
playing
have
the
to play
game?
to
Right,
get them
or
or
if it's
something?
only money. I don't know. Yeah.
Whether a
Guilty.
bet could lead to profit or loss.
Okay,
Guilty.
That's Counter-Strike, but that's kind of not in game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But-
whether it was based on chance rather than skill.
They are all
That one's for
chance.
sure.
They are all blind
Yeah.
packs.
So
Now-
definitely fit that one. This says that Battlefront 2 would have gotten nailed by this if they hadn't happened to have taken the microtransactions out when this was being
Right.
evaluated.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for Belgian kids who want to
that-
play Overwatch?
That shit's got to go
They just can't
if they
play
want to
those video
continue
games
peddling
anymore?
their games in
My
Belgium.
clan. No.
They like this is still pretty early. Like this story. This is on Kotaku that I read this. Like the Belgian government has not given them a date yet, where they said, "Hey, these have to come out by this date." Like
Yeah.
they say that sort of conversations are still taking place.
There's so many games out there that are like region locked, right? Only available in this country.
Yeah, here and there. I mean,
Why
yes
can't-
and no. Like
Yeah.
like region lock is
There's
less of
obvious-
a factor now
yes,
than there
there's
used to
obvious
be.
ways around it.
And they're always
But
they're almost always
to
the way
cover their
around it.
butt, couldn't they just exclude like that group of IPs or whatever?
Or they could just say we're not selling this game in Belgium anymore and take it off Steam.
Yeah, that
Or
might
you-
be
That's-
that might be the
sucks,
way
though.
they go. Who
It might
knows?
be, hey, if you already purchased it, then fine.
Right.
But that, I don't know. I guess like that. The thing is like, well, how do you?
Like they should be doing a check-in, to a server at some point. Maybe just exclude the loot box portion of it, like the paid loot box portion
Yeah,
of it
but okay.
from certain countries.
Yeah, but then is it still worth selling
like
your
maybe
game
the-
at all?
Maybe the revenue breakdown is such that it's not even worth the time
Right.
and effort. If they don't have that money coming in, it's not worth selling the game there anymore. Who knows? It's hard to say. Plus, it
which
costs,
that's not our problem. That's their problem.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
I just I
But
wonder.
I'm just that's just to explain why they might just stop selling the game as opposed to fixing it, according to these guidelines.
Just let me buy credits, man. Like I get the loot box thing.
This is all also. I think this all happened roughly around the time of last week's podcast. But the Netherlands Gaming Authority also has been investigating
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
a bunch of stuff in this vein and found 4 of the 10 loot boxes they were looking at violate Dutch law.
Oh, fuck.
Guilty.
The games are FIFA 18, PUBG, Rocket League, Dota 2. Yeah, they have until June 20th to bring that stuff in line.
To do what? What does in line mean?
This doesn't go into a
That's my question. Is like, how do you what's the actual remedy?
I
to
assume
this stuff?
it's either remove this from the game or we will not be able. You will not let you sell this game in this country.
Like
anymore.
that's but remove what? Like what's the actual thing? Is it do they need to publish odds on stuff? Like was it China that started
Yes.
publishing
Yes.
loot box odds?
This story
it-
says that Apple is starting
And
to
like
require
Riot
that
and
here
stuff, yeah.
on the App Store.
For
I
that stuff?
was not aware of that.
I
but
think there was some talk of that, but yeah.
last December, Apple revised the guidelines for the App Store to require companies to reveal the odds of loot boxes in their games.
I'm not sure if that's worldwide or not.
Maybe not. I'm not sure.
I'd
Let me see. If I
have to
can
look. But
find.
so I guess like that's my question is like what is the line?
Yeah.
And who determines where that line is? Is it publishers going like, how about now? How about now? How about now? And they have to resubmit, and someone who has this kind of like cloudy sense of what this stuff is has to judge it?
Well,
Or
I mean,
is it like, hey, if you make it so you can't spend any real money on this thing, if they can only be earned through in-game action, that's our line. That's a harsh line, but that's a line. Like that's what I would want to know. Is
Yeah.
like out of them is like, what do you view as the
it sounds like there
acceptable
is
scenario?
an existing law that they measured those boxes against.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, it is the. Oh gosh, here it is. The Betting and Gaming Act, Article 1.
yeah.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
assume it would
So-
have
so
to
maybe
like match
that's
that
the-
beat for beat.
Right.
Yeah, this
But
is.
that sounds like something that wasn't necessarily built for video games, that they are applying to video games.
So I found a PC Gamer story that has more info on the stuff in the Netherlands. Presentation rather than the loot itself is the primary driver of addictiveness. Those on the high end of the scale, quote, have integral elements that are similar to slot machines,
Yeah. Yep.
including unlimited access, the
Yeah.
ability to cash out virtual goods,
This does sound like online gambling.
particular
law.
visual and
Right.
sound effects. So like literally looks and feels like a slot machine. And a near miss effect that encourages the feeling of having nearly won something.
Oh,
so like
that's
the
a good
Dota's,
one.
the spinning wheel
Yep.
Dota stuff.
fucking
the,
dude, that thing is
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
It always pauses on the thing you want before it
Yeah.
gives
Or
you
like
the thing you
the
don't.
pachinko kind
Yeah.
of thing that would always like drop one next to the
Yeah.
5,000 or
Yeah. As a result of opening loot boxes, socially vulnerable groups such as young people could eventually be encouraged to play other games of chance.
Not that I'm a young person, but I'm vulnerable.
The risk of gambling addiction in this group is many times higher than in adults.
that's very
that's,
true.
that's sensible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, man, I wish like I could fast forward 5 years and see what the fuck this stuff looks
yeah,
like.
so here's the
because-
question.
Yeah.
Couple countries now picking it up. There's been talk in America. It seems like it's died down a little bit because they you know.
Yeah.
Because consumer protections don't exist here.
But how many countries does it take? How long until this is
I
like
think the EU is the big one. Like if the EU passes this stuff, that's a whole continent.
then like that goes back to the developers and they're like we got to change everything.
Right. And at some point, if you're making those changes, you probably change it worldwide.
Yeah.
or at least for the EU, because so like the GDPR stuff.
Yeah, so we've got that's the next. Should we just move on to that?
I think they're kind of intermingled, but Super Monday Night Combat is shutting down because it's easier for them to shut the game down than it is to retrofit it to fit the privacy laws that have changed in the EU.
The General Data Protection Regulation is the name of that regulation.
Yeah,
General Data Protection what?
Regulation.
GDPR, which sounds like some Cold War era.
Yeah, it really does. So, do you run into situations like that where for some of these games it's going to be easier to say, oh, well, we're just not going to do business, and we're either not going to do business in this region or just shut it all the way down.
Yeah.
Rather than retrofit it to fit these laws that will then also cut off their money makers at the knees. And force that, like, they're gonna be forced to come up with all new stuff, like FIFA Ultimate Team, like the Ultimate Team stuff in the EA Sports games is the reason that those things have been doing so well.
Those are the reasons that games as a service exist.
Those are the reasons that your Xbox Live account got fucking hacked.
So
like that shit is.
I bought. We did that backwards compatibility stream for Xbox last week, and I bought what was that, 6 or 7 games before that stream. Mm-hmm. My credit card got disabled after that. Really? Like it literally got flagged for fraud protection
because of just a grip of Xbox purchases.
I called yesterday, and the sample purchases they offered and said, "Were these really made by you?" Were all those $10 Xbox Live purchases?
Yeah.
Interesting.
People hacking my account to play Breakdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that like FIFA is kind of the big one, right? Isn't it? Like
FIFA was definitely
they straight
like
up like fucking launder money through FIFA card packs. And
I
stuff?
don't know. There was a talk of all sorts of weird shit. Yeah, because whether you can trade packs or whatever, I'm not sure
for some
how that
games
aspect
it would be
of it
easier.
works.
Like
but
I could imagine Overwatch is a thing where it's like, okay, now you just get random equipment or whatever. Instead of a random loot box, now you just get like random cosmetics or whatever when you level up. You know, it seems like where games where the loot box is less integral to the production, like there are ways you can kind of work around it. But yeah, like FIFA, like CSGO, where it's like you're buying the crates and the keys. It's like,
well, did they change the key stuff? Because that's the stuff they got out of, like, because Dota used to do keys, right?
Dota used to do
and
keys.
They got out of keys that I thought that was for a regulatory reason that they started getting away from that stuff.
So maybe
but
it's just
PUBG
crates.
is still into, hey, you got the crates, now buy the keys.
Rocket League as well.
Right, yeah. Rocket League just recently introduced the crates and keys stuff, which seemed like a backwards move, considering I thought we were moving away from the key shit.
It's a bad experience.
And I think CS:GO still traffics in keys. I don't know if they got rid of it there or not. It's been a while since I've looked.
Yeah.
But I thought that the reason that Dota got away from keys was very much, like, maybe it was for the Chinese market or something, but my understanding is that there was like, hey, just for regulatory reasons, we need to change the way that this stuff works.
Yeah.
But if those other games didn't change it, like Rocket League seems like the boneheaded thing of like getting into that space, as Valve itself was like, dude, no, we're moving away from it in our popular game with the hats.
And like maybe Dota saw this a little bit coming, because now like the big things are Arcanas, which is like a $30 purchase, and it gives you like a complete reskin. You know exactly what you're getting, new voice lines, et cetera, and Dota Plus, their subscription service, where that has no elements of chance in it. You get shards, but then you use those to one-to-one buy the outfits that you want.
Right.
So it seems like they're maybe, I don't know if it was just chance, or maybe they just kind of saw how things were going with loot boxes, now there are systems in play where I imagine if they reintroduced a compendium, they could not have those random chests in there and totally be fine on these loot box regulations.
Yeah, I guess so. Because if look and feel and the spinning wheel and the slot machine stuff, like, yeah, that's what all that stuff is. The fancier the fucking animation of that loot box getting opened, like the more fanciful the more dopamine fires off when those chests gets opened. And
casino games are down to a science at this point. Like the look, the sound, everything has been tested and tested and tested.
Those games come with those oxygen masks. It's weird.
Yeah, I was watching a stream on Twitch yesterday that it seemed to be a Russian dude streaming a website that was a video stream of a woman sitting next to a roulette table, looking very bored. At a very low frame rate. She was just sitting there, like she kept coughing, and just like this roulette wheel is in the shot, and it spins, and like there's real gambling happening.
Yeah.
But it's just like this stream of a stream that I'm watching is going like, oh man, this is what is the world?
Oh, the internet is great.
It really is.
It's worth pointing out that this study in the Netherlands, they studied 10 games and only 4 of them were found to be non-compliant.
What do you know what the 6?
Let me see. pull that story back up. They might have the full list of 10 games.
Like, I'm curious to know what they think is okay, because that would probably provide a bit of a signpost for how this might go for some of these games.
Oh gosh,
I wonder if EA is just shitting fucking bricks on this because like I feel like their sports business, like Madden got into it, UFC got into it this year, where they're like, oh, how about a UFC Ultimate Team? How about some more blind card packs for that ass?
the actual report in PDF form is available, except that the link is broken at the moment.
Yeah.
But you can go find that once they put that PDF back up. But point is, like, the stuff might just get fixed. It might not necessarily go away. They might just rein it in.
I guess like that. The thing I'm curious about is what does fixed look like to these governmental agencies, and can these companies still
Operate
the way they've been operating, or will that stuff get very undercut? Because this could be, if things keep going in this direction. Like I think the EA Sports stuff, I think, is actually like some of the most susceptible. Like, CS:GO will feel a hit. Like, but I feel like Valve is in a better position to cushion whatever the fuck happens to them and change it up and still find a way to get by. But EA, public company, like, they're a lot of the revenue. We'd have to go back and look actually, and just see what percentage of the revenue is coming from sports microtransactions. But my understanding is that was a big business for them. It's a fucking huge business for Blizzard. Mm-hmm. They've made a lot of fucking money on that stuff. So,
Call of Duty,
sure.
Also,
I mean, Call of Duty is definitely in a similar space with how they handle their chests. Yeah. Like that's a lot of time limited events too. That'll be like, here's the St. Patrick's Day thing, and we put a bunch of shamrocks on shit that you can pay money for, or you can pay money for boxes to unlock to maybe get the stuff you want. Keep buying boxes, I guess. You'll get money. You'll get currency for the duplicate boxes you open, which then you can use to buy the stuff you actually want. Or they have dupe protected loot crates that they call bribes.
Loot box insurance?
Yeah. That's like if the highest tier of loot box you can get in Call of Duty is like, get an epic bribe. And it's guaranteed to be something you don't already have.
Just buying a protection plan for your loot box?
It sure would be a shame if something happened to your loot box.
That's a real nice crate you got there.
It'd be a shame if someone shot a rocket at it and opened it up.
I guess good on Fortnite for going down the battle pass route instead of the loot box route.
Well, I guess they don't do it for the battle royale stuff, but they do have the llama like bashing crates that you do open in the other mode.
What
other mode? It's called Fortnite.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Save the World.
Oh, it's that thing I accidentally clicked sometimes.
It's called Fortnite Just Survive. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, we'll see how this shit goes. It's weird.
Nice to see people talking about it who can do something about it.
Yeah,
as opposed to just ignoring it.
And we'll see what happens in terms of just like I said, what's the tipping point for? Okay, we've got 2 regions on the attack on this stuff. Yeah. Maybe with 2 regions in play, you just come up with the adjustment for those other regions. But I feel like the minute you roll out a change for Belgium and the Netherlands, anyone who sees this shit is going to be like, oh, fuck you. No, give us that too.
Yeah.
At least throughout the EU. Yeah. Like, as you said, here in the States.
We'll see.
Yeah, big shrug there.
Fingers crossed.
On the consumer protections
always
stuff.
Every time you like buy a piece of electronics and look at the warranty information and it's like 90 days or a year maybe here, and then you look at the EU stuff is like 7 years and all this. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh. You guys may have heard that Nintendo is getting a new president.
Again?
Yeah.
Man.
Right?
How long has it been?
Iwata passed away in 2015. I could not have told you that until I read this story. It does not feel like that long, but he's been gone almost 3 years. So Tatsumi Kimishima took over after him, and he's kind of a longtime Nintendo guy. He's in his late 60s.
He was always, my understanding is that he was always designed to be the interim.
Yeah, maybe they said that at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's stepping aside. I mean, he's still going to be in an advisory role and stuff. But Shuntaro Furukawa is taking his place,
who's that dude?
46 years old.
He's kind of young.
He ran the Pokemon Company for some time.
Heard of that?
He was high up at Nintendo of Europe for a while.
All right.
Let's see. Kotaku basically just posted this, like, here's everything we could find about this guy.
Likes, dislikes.
He says Golf Story is his favorite Switch game.
Okay.
fluent in English. So like that could be
And sarcasm.
like honestly, the way they've gotten away from like having the head of the company come out on the Nintendo Directs,
Yeah.
like it might be nice to see.
Maybe
them
I don't know.
Get
Like,
back to that.
I don't feel like the president necessarily has to get up and speak. I think they've got a good
Right.
array of
Yeah,
people
that's-
right
yeah,
now.
sure.
Reggie Miyamoto.
Sure, yeah.
It was nice to know that the guy in charge got it, though. You know?
I would like
Sure.
to see him in a Mario hat saying something fun
Sure.
at E3.
Let's see. Kotaku has a couple quotes here. Furukawa is, quote, a very nice guy who, quote, gets how the industry is changing, one game industry source who has met with him many times over the years, told Kotaku.
Good to know.
The incoming president realizes, the source said, that games as a service models and mobile games are becoming increasingly important, and that Nintendo isn't making as much money as it could be in those areas.
He's got some big ideas about like some packs of cards, and you open them, and then you get like extra Splatoon heads.
It's clear he wants to fix mobile, and hence the Cygames deal. So yeah, Nintendo also recently just announced they're making a mobile RPG with Cygames.
Okay.
Who, gosh, where's that?
Well, whatever, man. He
One
likes
of the
Golf
guys we
Story.
saw, right?
He's
They
cool
made
in my book.
they made Grand Blue Fantasy.
Gray and blue.
Anybody?
That sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, Nintendo has an action RPG for phones coming out now.
Okay,
Eh.
we'll see.
But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this guy, like, probably the most encouraging thing in this whole story is that they say that this guy was chosen because they want the leadership of the company to be young.
Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds
I
promising.
already got that vibe. Kind of, you could tell with recent Switch stuff, like between the newer Mario Karts and Splatoon and Arms,
Yeah,
even that
the
there is
people
like
they're putting in front of the camera like are fun.
Yeah.
You know, and they seem genuine.
Genuine,
when
yeah.
they talk.
The
which-
people and the games seem to be connecting with people.
Yeah.
Like, really, really well.
I am totally fine with Nintendo being that, like, not necessarily console for kids, but the company that it does make the more approachable,
Mhm.
kind of more friendly, front-facing stuff that, like, you know, I'm okay with Mario being Mario for a long time, Zelda being Zelda for a long, like, 'cause it's, you know, it's like they say with like Star Wars movies is everyone's first one is their favorite, right?
Sure,
or
yeah.
or what have you. So like, I you know, I would like the hardware and stuff to evolve. Obviously, I would like, you know, a Switch 2 or something at some point, but I'm totally fine with them aiming for the younger, keeping the company young and kind of having that reflect through their
Or just
products.
like, you know, like focusing on fun and kind of like keeping the concept of toys somewhere in their
like Labo.
Yeah, like somewhere in their like lexicon. I think it's a good tack for
Yeah.
them.
They've been good at speaking to the youth.
The youth.
You know,
The youths.
I don't know, just kind of like the way like Splatoon is almost this venue for fashion and stuff like that. You know
Oh,
what
sure.
I mean? Like there's this sort of cultural element to a lot of the stuff they're doing right now.
I'm just glad that 46 is considered young. I feel good.
No, instead you're supposed to go like, I'm not far off from that, and I'm not close to being a president of
Oh,
anything.
Right. Oh, yeah. Thanks.
I could be
Thanks for
president of my fan club.
that. I am. I'll be the treasurer.
You know, like this story points out that he grew up playing the Famicom, which is like that's the first time a head of Nintendo
Yeah,
Huh.
played Nintendo games as a child.
right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds promising.
Mhm.
Which is a good thing because he's inheriting
A successful
a
business?
problem or two. Well, yeah, no, their earnings are through the roof. They're
Right.
doing quite well, but you guys remember that email I read a couple months ago about
Yes.
the exploit in the Switch
Oh.
CPU?
That
Yes.
business.
Yeah, that stuff
That-
had been floating around for months. At
so that info
point.
has been around. Like we were not the first people to float that,
Yeah.
but
That email I think was just like had gone to a website,
Yeah.
read some stuff, and emailed to us.
it just didn't seem super common knowledge at the time. Anyway, two different hacking groups have both come out with that vulnerability in the last like week. I mean, I think that, you know, it was like one announced, so the other announced or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there is a bug in the current CPU of the Switch that is unpatchable, unfixable through software.
yeah.
That makes it pretty easy to bust the Switch open. They've already got a port of Linux up and running.
Oh, okay.
Like a
on-
lot of this
on the
stuff is not
Switch.
necessarily widely available yet.
Yeah, no,
It's
you
kinda-
can't go do this. Like they have done it
Yeah,
internally. Also, both of these. So it's interesting. There's like some friendly like inter hacking group rivalry going on here,
Oh,
and
sure.
then there's also some like more sinister stuff. So Both of these groups independently found the vulnerability and have exploited it and gotten stuff homebrew running on the Switch. They both say that they disclosed their findings to NVIDIA before they announced all this stuff publicly, because NVIDIA makes the CPU in the Switch. There's a third group who appears to be using this knowledge for more nefarious purposes.
The third group was very much like, we have a device coming that we want you to buy.
They are working on a mod chip
like
that they are going to sell.
It was very much like,
Holy shit.
we are working on a product that we will sell you to do this sort of stuff. And so their disclosure stuff was very different. You know, like it's is that semantics? Does it actually matter one way or the other? Like, the responsible disclosure of vulnerabilities followed by the public disclosure and all that sort of stuff. Like, it makes sense. I think what had happened is, like, someone just disclosed early. Like, someone else was like, oh, check this shit out. And these other groups that had been showing progress on these fronts for a little bit and be like, hey, we
know that
have
too.
found a thing. They were like, well, all right, we were going to wait the 90 days that we had told NVIDIA about this stuff. Their justification for it is that was it like the Tegra X1? Is that the hardware?
I think that's the shit. It is a Tegra.
Anyway, it's in a lot of different devices, and this is a vulnerability that can affect a lot of different things. So you might not have a ton of, like, highly sensitive data on your Switch, right? But there may be other Tegra-driven devices that you would want to know if this was an unpatchable vulnerability in this device, so that you could go like, okay, I need to make sure that this thing is secure through other means, whether it's locking it in a box or smashing it up with a hammer and replacing it with something that does not have this vulnerability or whatever. The upshot, though, is that so no one is doing anything publicly nefarious with this information just yet. That will come from the sounds of things.
It's happening. So there's a lot of good choice quotes coming out of this stuff. One of the groups is called Fail Overflow. They're talking about how currently it's pretty risky to be messing around with the stuff. We already caused temporary damage to one LCD panel with bad power sequencing code. If your Switch catches on fire or turns into an Ouya, it's not our fault.
Finally, somebody's taken down the Ouya.
That's right.
Nailed them.
So the other group is called Reswitched, and they talk about like how they disclosed to NVIDIA and what this third group is trying to do. They say our exploit was responsibly disclosed to NVIDIA earlier and forwarded to several vendors, including Nintendo, as a courtesy. And then they go on to talk about, where's the name? Team Executor is the group that's working on the mod chip that they want to sell that is like...
Executor.
Yeah, so
I feel like I've bought some stuff from those guys before.
Reswitched said about them, not just do they publicly endorse piracy and seek to profit from keeping information to a few people, but they're also willing to drop a 0-day that affects a broad swath of devices on the public without any responsible disclosure. All in all, I think the Team Executor seems to be without morals or scruples, and I'm happy to do as much as I can to reduce their profitability and thus disincentivize these kinds of awful behaviors.
Damn.
Like that sounds like the group that is just going to make Switch piracy a thing if they bring this to the market.
We'll see. You know, the homebrew stuff tends to open a lot of doors along the way. So basically, like with the information out there, the door is open, but people need to craft payloads that then take advantage of the door being open, and
that's where this
side-loading things onto the Switch that would then let you load unsigned code or whatever, and then it becomes like, okay, who's ported what to the Switch?
That's where this is weird to talk about from an ethical standpoint, because like pirating Switch games obviously bad, but I guess the homebrew stuff that would be legal that you could do on a Switch,
it's fascinating.
Could be amazing.
Yeah,
because that thing is fairly powerful. Like nice screen, touch controls, like all that stuff.
And then people started going the other way with it. It was like, oh, well, what if you could take another system with this processor? Could you then make it run Switch games? Which is another weird gray area.
I bet that's harder.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
yeah,
like think about all the stuff you could port to a Switch from the last like 20 years of games and how cool that stuff would be.
Katos.
There you go.
Done. That's your whole list.
Yeah.
So like they've shown footage of Dolphin running on a Switch. There's a lot of
there's tons of emulators, all kinds of like PC games you can port over.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that could be fascinating, and I don't know how this is going to go. Like people definitely. Well, I think how it will go is that this is a flaw that cannot be patched on devices that are out in the wild, but is something that they can make changes on the line in the factory to close this. So
Yeah,
at some point, every Switch being sold will no longer have this issue. They will make that change.
It sounds like that's coming. Digital Foundry found references to a new version of that Tegra processor in the 5.0 firmware.
Right.
I'm
so
sure NVIDIA and Nintendo have been aware of this problem for.
it got disclosed to them a while back.
Yeah.
So they've had at least a few months, if not way longer than that. That like, hey, this is an issue we need to figure out. So this will be a hole that gets closed on the switches that are that will get sold. I assume that changeover happens at some point this year, if it isn't already happening. I don't know, but yeah, they've sold a lot of those things. So there are a lot out in the field, out in the wild that could be screwy.
Do you know what the legality actually is? If you own a given game, if it's a PC game or whatever, and somebody comes up with a way to port it to the Switch.
Oh, I don't know.
Is that kosher? I don't actually know what the breakdown is.
I keep saying that, man, I want to see this on the Switch. I'm going to take it into my own hands now.
What's your number one? I want to see it on the Switch.
The Nintendo Wii.
Wii Sports Resort.
Wii Sports, yeah.
It's
like somebody comes up with a SNES emulator or
Right.
they port Doom 3 or something that has source code out there.
yeah. Well, so the source code of Doom 3 exists, like that stuff. The legality becomes around like what are you using to compile it for the Switch, and I believe in this case it is stuff that is like legally available. It's not like so in some cases you'll have situations where like someone leaked the SDK for this platform and now people are using it to compile code.
Sure.
Then that compiled code is probably illegal. You saw a lot of that around the time of the original Xbox, that people were distributing binaries of things that would run on a soft modded Xbox, and they were careful about that because like, hey, someone had to steal the XDK to compile this code, and that's the only way we have it. Thus, it is an illegal, rotten fruited tree, whatever the fuck it is. All that sort of stuff. I don't know that that's the case for some of the Switch stuff that's happened because again, that chip is it's
all over
it's out
the place.
there. It's in a lot of different stuff. Like people are coding for it.
Yeah.
So I think like Linux for the Switch is just sitting on GitHub.
Yeah.
Getting it up and running. That is not something for everyone. But I think that stuff can sit there. And there's my understanding is that there's nothing like illegal about that aspect of this. So like a case like Doom 3 where the source code's available, if they can take that source code, port it to something that then compiles on the Switch, like that seems like a legal
should
thing.
Be kosher.
I am not a lawyer.
Yeah. What?
It's true.
Speaking of dodgy legal issues around Nintendo stuff.
I'm a paralegal.
Oh, okay.
Totally different.
Can you help me with
Is that like a lawyer that can jump out of planes?
Yeah.
Help me with my discovery. A dude is suing Nyko over the Switch dock frying his Switch that they make.
Yeah.
That
Oh
stuff,
yeah, they've
I
got
feel
one
like
of those like alternative.
Yeah, like
Switch
there are a
docks.
bunch of third-party docks and little cable-y,
Yeah.
dongle-y type things out there, which
Yeah, there's a
seems
bunch
like
of
it
those.
would be super cool to have, but I keep not buying one because like enough of them keep destroying Switches.
They sent
That's
one
the
of
first
those.
I've heard of it.
They sent one of those out, and I like threw it in a drawer, going like, "Oh, one of these days we're going to need a dock, and this will come in handy."
Yeah.
And now I'm really glad that it's just sitting in a drawer.
I would
because
never use that thing.
Yeah,
if
right.
I were you.
Oh, like is it a power mismatch? What the hell's going on?
It is
So-
some kind of
I found the site. I don't know how much you care
It's a power management issue.
about technical minutia, but there is a site called switchchargers.com.
Oh,
What do they do?
Talk about some black web AC power adapter for Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Google 45 watt USB-C powered. It's a database of chargers and how well they work with
Interesting.
the Switch. But let me see if I can get back to
How many are there like out there, like in that database there?
Well, this is just generic USB-C chargers.
Gotcha.
Like they're trying to break that stuff down. I'm trying to find the specific page on the docks and all that stuff. They go into a lot of detail if you want to look it up on how the Switch uses a bunch of non-standard USB-C power routine stuff. And that's
wow.
probably
Yeah.
and like it's actually using DisplayPort out instead of HDMI. So there's a converter chip in the Nintendo dock that is handling that stuff, and these third-party docks don't use the same chip, and all kinds of stuff like that, basically.
Wow.
So
Oops.
I can't find that specific page right now, but anyway, there are good technical reasons why these third-party items are destroying Switches or screwing them up in various ways.
Well,
And now
it's a
Nyko,
logical reason.
Now
It's not a
Nyko,
good reason. but-
Nyko is eating a class action lawsuit. over it.
Damn,
So
that sucks, man. Like that dock is $90,
yeah,
you know, and it should be cheap enough to
it's rough.
manufacture an alternative.
Also,
but
it's bulky.
yeah,
It's big and not portable. And I wish I'd be happy if Nintendo made a travel one. You know?
seriously.
Like I would rather buy one from them if I could, but like they don't
Mhm.
make any alternatives.
Oh man, that's scary. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Buyer beware. I read somewhere somebody was saying yesterday that the Insignia dock that Best Buy has is the one dock that's out there that's known not to.
Oh really? I thought I read that was
F-up
one
switches.
of the issues as well,
But-
or one of the companies that
but-
was an issue.
But you never know.
Yeah.
I think that's it for Nintendo news.
It's like they always said, man. If you're using these third-party unlicensed
I know,
peripherals, it may
right?
damage your console.
Yeah.
Like, don't put a Game Genie in there.
Finally,
It'll burst into fucking
It
flames.
took 30 years, 35
Yeah.
years, but they finally
The
found
official
something.
Nintendo seal of quality finally means something.
They finally found one.
Wow.
We'll end on a positive Nintendo note. They put out their E3 schedule. They're having
When are they playing that video?
Which video?
The
that video.
That video.
9 a.m. June 12th.
Okay.
Just like every year. 9 a.m. on Tuesday.
All right.
I guess the biggest difference is that they've got this Splatoon 2 World Championship happening the day before,
Oh, the day before.
so they can
like-
finally recreate that, or they can finally create for real that scenario from the Switch announcement video.
Didn't they do that?
of Switch
last-
players?
right.
They
Switch
did that
players
last
like-
year.
Yeah, they had a Splatoon
Yeah.
thing
Did
last
they? Yeah.
year.
Was
Yeah.
it that big though?
No.
I want to see a bunch of like.
But that was,
squid-
like,
squid
during
kids
E3.
like striding into an arena
I want to see people in
with thousands of people cheering.
like esports uniforms, whatever they're even
And
called.
Team
right.
America won.
Hell yeah, we did.
So it's our chance to bring back. It's the only esport America's good at.
Bring back the gold, baby.
Team Ketchup is going to win this time. Pretty excited.
So yeah, they're doing the Splatoon 2 World Championship starting on June 11th, and then like directly after that, the Super Smash Brothers Invitational 2018 starts.
For the Smash game that we still don't know anything about.
Wait, are they going to be playing that one?
I believe so.
Really?
You wouldn't do an invitational for
For the old game?
the old game.
So you just bring them in
Wow.
and let them play for a couple days to get up speed, or just throw them
Maybe.
in there?
Throw 'em in.
Yeah, let them
Like a
figure
half
it out.
hour beforehand. Like
Yeah.
here's the controls.
Just
Yep.
let them
A
figure
is
it out.
normal attacks, B is special attacks. There you go.
What? This changes everything.
Mario's got a fireball.
What?
I guess is that the logo of the new game? On the
It's not the logo of the old game.
Okay, that must be the new game then. All right, I guess you get to see a bunch of the new Smash in an esports kind of context
Okay.
at E3. Let's see. We talked about Discord some earlier. Now Xbox Live is getting Discord support,
That's cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
which sounds pretty limited so far. I think it's mostly just a way for people to see what Xbox games you're playing
Okay.
to
Yeah,
begin
I wonder-
with.
Yeah, I wonder what info's being passed through.
I think it is just that. They Discord has a bunch of like connect your Discord account to the X account, Y
Sure.
account,
Yeah.
Z account,
Yeah,
know,
you
like
can
your,
al-
your
you can
Twitch
already-
account,
You
your
can already hook up Steam,
Reddit,
and Battle.net,
Spotify, and
all
all this
kinds
other
of stuff.
stuff.
So it's like it's just another service, but
Does this mean I can ditch Skype on Xbox?
probably.
Okay.
I don't think this necessarily
I don't think it has,
implies
like,
that
voice
there's
chat
a
yet.
Discord app on the
Yeah,
Xbox.
not
really?
Not
This is
yet.
just account
Not yet.
linking.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see one.
Yeah. Or maybe a way for the existing Xbox like chat stuff to talk to Discord or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's mostly a big deal to me because like the Xbox used to be such a closed system, you know?
Yeah.
Like Xbox Live was kind of this walled garden. And
But the way
Yeah.
they're treating this is like on the Xbox side, it's a social network style connection, the same
Mhm.
way you would hook up your Xbox Live account to Twitter or Facebook. I
Right.
think it's even on the same screen when they do roll it out. So it really is just
yeah, it's not some full featured.
yeah.
Discord
It just
client.
means on your Discord server under your name, it will say that you're playing
Oh, gotcha.
whatever Xbox game you're playing.
But it's like it's potentially a step in that direction.
Sure.
Like they could get there.
Yeah.
I get so weirded out every time I see somebody playing Dota on my Xbox friends list. Like that whole integration
the
thing
Windows
is
10
so
stuff
strange.
is really strange. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. PUBG. You've heard of that.
Okay. You
It's a
say
Knives
so?
Out clone.
Did you? Yes, that's correct. There are some people cheating in that game. You may have heard.
Heard that a lot.
No.
15 individuals responsible for PUBG cheating in China have been arrested
There's more than 15 cheaters
and
out there.
fined. Well, you're in luck because the Chinese authorities say other suspects related to this case are still being investigated. These 15 people have been fined over $5 million.
For cheating?
Yes.
They
Well,
are
no, for creating cheats.
They are
Oh,
producing.
Gotcha.
I
These
thought
are-
these were just like
No,
individuals.
No, these are,
hackers.
And
these
it's
are,
not even necessarily that they are creating the cheats. It's that they're hiding a bunch of fucking
some of
Trojans
them-
and shit.
It's all that stuff. So the Chinese
Oh, okay.
law enforcement said the 15 major suspects were arrested for developing hack programs, hosting marketplaces for hack programs, and brokering transactions. Some hack programs that are being distributed through the internet include a Trojan horse
Go figure.
virus. It was proven that hack developers used this virus to control users' PCs, scan their data, and extract information illegally.
Damn.
So PUBG Corp came out with this. Like, they're out there going, hey, look,
Yeah.
like, we're working with Chinese cops. They are dealing with this. They're, levying
I
some
hope it helps.
harsh punishments
Yeah.
here.
Damn.
I don't see anything about jail time here.
That's early days.
Well, they gotta wait till they arrest 100 of them,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then they can
Yes. And then
let them sort it out.
drop them all on
themselves.
an island and let them figure it out.
Man, that would be
A huge human rights violation.
yeah. But a huge human rights violation that I would watch on TV.
Have you heard of China? Yeah. That's a big fun. Do you guys want to talk about the new Destiny DLC?
I want to know
Isn't
what
it past
is.
the 90-day window, Brad?
They announced it. That's why I'm asking.
Is it new? Is it actually
Yeah,
a new
it's-
chunk
it's-
of
it's-
DLC?
it's the-
if you were,
next-
if
then
you were
yes.
interested
Then yes, I want to hear
and
about it.
it's
Okay.
Isn't it a horde
sizable,
mode?
then
No,
yes, I
it
want to
is.
hear
It's
about
the
it.
next add-on, so it's just like the last add-on. I mean, yes, there is
Is there a
there
raid?
is a horde mode public event in it. Yes,
Okay.
there is a new raid lair.
Oh,
and
like
a-
in the same space?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
What?
But like the footage I saw of the last raid lair, it's not the same level. It's not the same level design. It's you go to the raid and you get to a different wing.
Yeah, but it's still in that Callus's.
No, I mean, like, the footage I
Oh.
saw of the last raid lair looked nothing like that. It's just how you access it. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I didn't play it.
That's from a storyline perspective, which is the stuff that I kind of want Destiny to be better at. That's weird. Go back to the same place and there's a different wing. Is it still the same guy? Nah, maybe.
Yeah.
This one's
The
set
fact
on-
that they have to call it a raid layer and not just a new raid really like just ticks me off in a way that like, oh, why just make another raid? Like it's been so long.
I didn't play the last one.
Did anyone play? They rolled out an update that they said was speeding the game up a lot and
No.
changing cooldowns and even movement speed in some cases. And that sounded
That sounds interesting.
interesting on paper, but it also did not. It was not enough to bring me back into the game. So I'm curious about that a little bit. But
Wow. I completely missed the part where this thing is out next week.
Oh,
It's out on May 8th. I thought it was later this month. It's set on Mars. It's wrapped up in the Warmind stuff, which is like the kind of AI satellite.
which is that's like part of the lore that I like.
Yeah, I liked that
so-
stuff in the first game, but we'll see.
I'll check this out.
It's basically set in like polar ice caps on Mars, so it's like Mars, but icy. It's not quite the same stuff that you saw in the first game.
Okay.
The Hive are in it. I don't know. It sounds fine. It's got this public event that you can trigger that is a horde mode, kind of like how it's my phone. Stop ringing. You remember the Court of Oryx,
Yes.
where you could like kind of activate that thing
Right,
yourself?
yeah.
It's like that basically. You can kind of start this horde mode in the world whenever you want.
Hmm.
I don't know. Some of that stuff sounds cool, but like
I need something new and big. I
Yeah,
need something
yeah,
flashy
yeah,
and
that
like
last DLC really didn't grab me.
They mentioned rewards at all.
They've been talking about loot, like they've got masterwork exotic stuff coming out, but like
Oh, yeah,
that
I
stuff
saw
is just kind of
that.
over my head to the point that I care.
you can add like perks to your
Yeah,
exotic.
yeah, there are
yeah.
all kinds of new ways to customize gear and stuff like that, but it's just kind of I don't know.
None of it seems like enough, but
Well, it's not. It's
I
not that
think
it's
I'm-
not enough. It's not what I want. It's not the type of thing that I want.
I think that the thing where I'm at right now is I'm not actually sure what they would need to
Yeah.
make to bring me back to Destiny, other
yeah.
than like
Another race of aliens.
right. Like
That's my number one.
A significant batch of new content that
Yeah,
is
that's-
like half the length of the campaign.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
that would be like okay, that would be a thing I would play through a big long chunk of story.
I bet
Not the story chunks they've been doing in their
Yeah.
past DLCs. It's not enough.
I bet they're going to have good news for you in September,
I don't know.
based on
I
how
don't- I
based
don't
on
know.
how the first game went.
I just don't know that there is enough good new. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll see.
I don't know. I'll check this.
I'm
thing
not
out, but-
opposed to getting back into Destiny, but
Yeah.
nothing they've said about it post release has like swayed me one way or the other.
We should check back in when that new stuff comes out
Yes.
just to see.
Yeah, we should for sure. Let's see. Rockstar patched a whole bunch of stuff out of Grand Theft Auto 4 from the radio, such as David Bowie,
They're taking my tunes away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Smashing Pumpkins 1979,
Well, that's
Oh,
fine.
man.
That's fine.
Fat Joe, Crack House featuring Lil Wayne.
Oh.
No, it's just some bullshit now.
All three of the Kanye songs in the game are still in the game.
Man,
So there you go.
I mean that's fine, but that's fucking weird, right?
Kinda.
They're reaching in and they're grabbing my tunes.
I think it's weird for Rockstar to do it.
yeah.
Like
Well,
I can
I mean-
totally see a lot of other developers doing it, but like Rockstar A has all the money in the world, and B seems to care about like the artistic sanctity of their products
Sure.
a whole lot.
Yeah.
So for them to just like kind of let the licensing lapse, I don't know.
It's been a decade, I think is
I
what
guess.
it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Just
maybe they
about.
just had a 10-year deal for those
Yeah.
songs that they chose not to renew.
Yeah,
It's-
and they're like, everyone owns this game by now. You've probably played through the single player already if you want to.
It's weird because
Just take the game down.
because of the way they build it, because the way patches are distributed on console and all that other stuff. Like it'd be really hard to get the disc and then patch up right before that point.
Yeah.
To
You
get
do-
like, hey, if there are bugs or whatever you want to patch out, you want to get up to this point, but go no further.
You'd pretty much have to either play the unpatched game or
Right.
play this patch. No in between. I'm sure somebody on PC will figure out.
Hey, here's what you do. You go to Spotify and you just make a playlist of those songs and you play that
not the
while you
same.
play the game.
It's not the same.
I'm calling the cops. You're
Guilty.
going to jail.
Lastly, the Oculus Go came out today.
Yeah, what exactly is
Out of
this?
kind of out of nowhere. It's the self-contained Oculus,
Okay.
like out of the box,
Kind of
just
like
a
the
headset.
Gear
Check this
VR
out.
version of. Okay.
It's an
like
Oculus
yeah.
that you can go with.
You don't say.
Go anywhere you want.
Whoa.
That's all I know about it.
Whoa.
It sounds like it's basically the Gear VR setup. If there were no phone in there, if the phone was
Oh,
permanently
okay.
attached to the headset, it's just an all-in-one. No,
All right.
no PC required, no external sensors, no nothing. It's just a headset and a controller.
That sounds
The
powerful.
resolution stuff sounds nice.
Yeah,
Like it
it's
sounds
high
like it
res.
is more powerful than a phone jammed into a Gear VR is.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it's not necessarily going to be like the full PC experience either.
definitely not.
But as a result, they're able to say, hey, there are like 1,000 things on launch day because it's the Gear VR store.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Do you know is it across the board? Like pretty much anything that ran on a Gear VR
I don't know.
should work on this, or it sounds
Yeah.
like close to it probably.
Yeah.
How much are we talking?
$199
Okay.
for the 32 gig version, or $249 for the 64
That's
gig.
actually kind of appealing.
Expandable.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really any major ways to expand it.
Talk about battery life.
Not that I've seen. Their reviews are popping up. I guess
30 minutes.
some outlets got a hold of this thing ahead of time. Let's see. 1.5 to 2 hours for gaming, or 2 to 2.5 for video watching.
That's kind of what I expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
longer than
But I wonder if I can-
think I want to spend in VR in one session
Sure.
most of the time.
Yeah.
So
But if I'm watching a movie or something, I wonder if I can leave it plugged in.
That's not long enough to watch, say, a Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah.
that's okay. You wouldn't want to do that
I
anyway.
bet a lot of people would.
Ugh.
I like Lord of the Rings. I like that part where Legolas slides down the trunk and
Shut up.
shoots the orcs.
No.
I don't need it blasted into my eyeballs.
You don't want to get up close and personal with Gimli?
Nope.
Is that I don't know if that's a real character.
Gimli?
Grimly.
Grimoire.
Ed Grimley.
Ed
is-
Grimley.
Ed
is-
Grimley
yeah,
Jr.
yeah.
Don't you talk about Grimlock that way. All right, that's it for news.
Cool.
Unless you guys want to talk about anything.
Gumby?
What's up with Gumby?
That's the $200 price is interesting.
Yeah.
But also, like, well, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Windows mixed reality?
No, I haven't used it because they just started rolling out the big update yesterday.
Yes,
that it's
I
supposed
installed
to-
it
yeah.
and then immediately lost wired connectivity
Yes,
on both
that
my
is-
PCs.
That is 100% why I did not go
Uh,
out of my way to install it. I'll just wait for the Windows update to push it to me.
But it took it took me 20 minutes to
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
fuck
those-
around with it
those-
long enough to get it working.
Those yearly updates are a little flaky out the door.
hmm
But yeah, that thing adds like haptics and a bunch of like basic stuff to Windows Mixed Reality that's not there yet.
Neat.
I'll talk more about that when I use it.
But that thing
bring
was
it in. I
also
wanna see
$200
that.
on sale.
Yes.
So like
I
know
got that thing, but I mean, not everybody can get that deal. That was a 1-day sale or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Although the HP Windows Mixed Reality one was like $225 over the weekend, so maybe
It seems like those prices are just kind of coming
they're
down.
just trying to push those headsets out the door.
If those things end up being good enough,
Yeah.
and
My experience
you have
with
a
it-
PC already,
Even without this update, without some of these basic features patched in, it's already good enough for $199. Like it's
yeah.
close enough to what I've used of the Vive and the Rift for that price. If you can get one for $200, do it. All right, we need to take another quick break, and then we'll come back with the emails.
Mother's Day is nearly here.
I'll say it again.
Go
really?
on. Really?
Crap.
Absolutely.
Every year,
And-
this happens.
Yeah. And they set aside one day, but doesn't mom deserve more than just one day?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, when you send her Pro Flowers for Mother's Day, she's guaranteed to have at least 7 days of fresh, beautiful flowers.
7 Mother's Days?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like a Mother's Week.
Okay, that's an easier way to say that.
Right now, you can get 100 colorful blooms and a free glass vase, starting at just $19.99 plus shipping and handling.
I'm no florist,
That's true.
but 100 flowers sounds like a lot.
That's a lot of
That sounds
flowers.
like a lot.
And you just use the promo code BOMBCAST to get this deal.
Like, how are you even going to fit 100 flowers in a room?
You'll get
That
a
sounds
free,
insane.
You'll get a free glass vase
Oh, okay.
that will contain these 100 colorful blooms. With fresh flowers, guaranteed delivery, and unique vases and accessories that moms will love, Pro Flowers has everything you need for all the moms you know.
Wait. Oh, hang on. I have to give gifts to other moms too?
Hey, you got other moms in your life?
Sure.
This stuff is for
Yes.
moms.
Okay.
That's right. Send them
Huh.
flowers, choose the delivery date you want, and it's guaranteed. You can even get that gift delivered on Mother's Day, which is May 13th.
I didn't realize my Mother's Day obligations were so broad.
Well,
So my mom obligations
yes,
must be fulfilled.
that's right. They are deep, and they are many, and they are plentiful. And the only thing more plentiful than those obligations, 100 colorful blooms.
That's a lot of blooms.
That's right. The only way to get these 100 colorful blooms and a free glass vase starting at $19.99 is to visit proflowers.com. Then you're going to click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and use the code BOMBCAST. One more time, that's proflowers.com. Click on the microphone and the code BOMBCAST.
What could be easier?
Nothing. Support for today's show comes to you in part by Squarespace.
I love them.
Yeah. Think it, dream it, make it with
Yeah.
Squarespace.
They're so positive.
That's what you can do.
Yeah.
They want you to succeed.
They're very upbeat.
They're in the business of helping you build your thing.
They make you feel good.
Yeah. They make it easy for you to do it. They've
Just
got
like, hey,
these-
you can succeed too.
you can succeed. You can build these templates. But wait a minute, you don't need to.
Huh?
We've got world-class designers that already built them for you.
They did it for you. That's how
Exactly.
positive they are.
Yeah,
They're very supportive.
They make it easy for you to turn your ideas into a new and unique website. Not like all those other websites out there. There are a few.
Yeah.
Make yours
there
not
are.
like those.
There are.
Yeah. You can
A
customize
number of them.
There are a lot. You can customize everything, look and feel, settings and products. It's all optimized for mobile right out of the box.
I've got a mobile right here in my pocket.
Well, that's that I was about to ask, and I'm glad I didn't because you volunteered the information. It's got built-in search engine optimization. That's right.
SEO.
Oh my God,
Oh my
you're going to
goodness.
be viewed on the internet when you get this website up because of how this SEO will go for you. You can showcase your work, blog, you can publish content, announce a special product, maybe, or a special project. You can sell products, services of all kinds. It's just a few clicks. And then they've got analytics.
Data.
Data.
Hard facts.
That's right. The facts for you to look at and help you
numbers.
grow in real time. All of that, and it's easy. Nothing to install, patch, upgrade, ever. They handle that business.
It's really just very generous.
Yeah,
of them.
you focus on you. You focus on putting you on the internet. They'll handle the hard stuff.
Yeah, the back end.
Yeah. Keep dreaming, but make it a reality with a website from Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST, and that'll save you 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/bombcast, offer code BOMBCAST.
I just want to take a minute and commend Jan on his recent choice of break music.
Yeah, the power ballads,
Man.
are really working for me.
Not just. I mean, that's really what put the cherry on top. But,
Who knew that Audio Network would have such bangers?
Yeah,
Hmm.
some choice selections coming out over there.
What's the usage rights? Could I make like remixes of said Audio Network songs?
I think only if you then. I don't know.
I've seen remixes, like, you know, when you go into them, you can see how many remixes of them
Right.
have been made. So
Okay.
there's obviously got to be some support there.
If I want to make some chopped and screwed
Yep.
Audio Network,
You
tracks.
could be the girl talk of Audio Network.
They provide instrumental versions of everything.
Okay.
So we could have an Audio Network karaoke night if we wanted to.
I'll be a thief in the night.
Yeah. All right, emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com.
Because that giantbomb.com.
Yeah.
Email.
Okay. Roy from Dubai.
What's up?
I just found myself on a flight sitting behind one Mr. William Zane.
Whoa, Billy!
I was immediately starstruck and fanboyishly fumbled around my phone to show my millennial friends, only to be confronted with a look of bewilderment and confusion. I quickly realized that Billy Zane is non-existent in the mind of millennials except mine.
Fucking kids.
I just want to know if Billy has fallen out of the zeitgeist and if I am wrong in believing he should be the main cue ball in every movie.
He was in Zoolander, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of how I know
The new one or
Okay.
the first one?
first one.
first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that was a big touchstone moment for modern Billy Zane, but it hasn't necessarily.
Was that post hair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like as part of the costume or like it was just gone?
It was just gone. I
Okay.
don't know. I
I-
couldn't say.
Like that's really the only context
I'm trying to think because like Titanic,
personally
Billy Zane
had-
has
Oh,
like,
yeah,
not
that's
Titanic,
what I knew of it.
healthy head hair at that
Mhm.
point.
He was in The Phantom, right?
yeah.
That's Billy Zane.
Mm-hmm.
Slam Evil, The Phantom, in theaters now.
Wait,
I like the Phantom.
is that a character name?
That's the Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Slam
No,
Evil.
that's no. Slam Evil was the tagline.
Oh, that'd be such a good name though.
no. For the film,
Let's see.
isn't he? Yeah, isn't he the Phantom?
Yeah,
Thought
he's-
Alec
yeah,
Baldwin's
isn't he?
the
Yeah.
Phantom.
No, that's
No.
that's the other
Shadow.
thing. The
Shadow?
Shadow, right? That's the one.
I like
Okay.
the Shadow. Fuck the Phantom.
Wow.
It's got the cool purple. Oh man.
Billy Zane's next movie is called The Dome.
All right,
So
back on top, baby.
Yep. moving on. Let's see.
I get it. I get it.
Logan from Bountiful, Utah.
Hmm.
That's a town, apparently, not an adjective. In the November 25th, 2008 Bombcast, Jeff predicted that Chad Kroeger, the lead singer of Nickelback, would hang himself, quote, within a decade.
It's fucking dark.
Just wanted to let you know that he has 7 months left for that prediction to come true on its own or to do it himself.
Jeff, no.
We'll see how that one goes. I guess.
P.S. EA should bring back Command and Conquer as an XCOM clone. Think about it.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, totally.
Speaking of Command and Conquer, here's an email with the subject line, Titanfall 3 at E3.
Fingers crossed.
Here's the body.
We said it would be.
Here's the body. I'm anonymous. No.
Oh shit.
EA is almost all Anthem and Battlefield 5 at E3.
Okay.
It will also have a new Command and Conquer that's free to play
Like XCOM.
for mobile
No.
that plays like Clash Royale.
Oh. What?
Hell yeah.
The only other
Hey,
game
Clash Royale is a good game.
that I
They can get some pretty badass celebrities to do some FMV for that game.
Let's not talk about Clash Royale. The only other game is Unravel 2. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
if
fuck.
this-
Unravel.
If this anonymous emailer is to be believed,
He's
that-
withholding
that's-
his name.
that's-
So
Revenge of Yarny.
that's EA's entire E3 lineup.
slam yarn.
I believe
Well,
it. I believe it. Well, I mean, whatever. They're going to pay lip service to Madden and The
Right.
Sims
Yeah.
and whatever.
Well, no, there were layoffs at Maxis recently.
Well, I guess
So I don't know if
that's not going to stop them from celebrating
Sure,
the money they
sure.
made from The Sims.
But yeah, there might not be like a new Sims.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about like, here's the
or-
most recent Sims expansion.
But
Blah,
in
blah,
terms
blah.
of product,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like the stuff they always
Sure.
like,
Yep.
like, hey, this is still doing well. But in terms of like new games that they bring, I could see that. Like, I figure they probably spend half or more of their time on Anthem and Battlefield.
Yeah, those are both very big things.
Yeah.
That they want to get right. That they want to make sure they put a big bright focus on.
Yeah.
So I even Titanfall 3 doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense to show here if they are trying to really, really, really push Battlefield.
Yeah,
Sure.
And then they also have Anthem.
and Anthem. There's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
All right, another E3 email. Ryan from Amarillo, Texas. With the news last week that THQ Nordic is passing up going to E3 to stay home and watch a soccer game, I'm left with this question. Is this just a bad excuse for these guys to stay at home and eat potato chips? Or is it a sign that maybe E3 is losing its importance and appeal to developers? What are your thoughts?
I mean, what does THQ Nordic have? And they could have very easily looked at like what the lineup would have been and been like, is this gonna poke through at E3 when all these other publishers have all this like really huge stuff? Like if they don't have they have Darksiders 3.
Darksiders 3 and what is that game? Biomutant, I think, is the other one.
Right.
Which sounds pretty cool. Actually, I haven't seen it. I don't know anybody that's seen it.
But if that's not in a showable state, then at some point you're like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
The other thing is well, didn't they just buy Deep Silver?
Yes. I think so. I believe that was the deal.
So is that a merged presence, or is Deep Silver still going to the show separately? And is THQ Nordic kind of being
Deep Silver has Cyberpunk, or not Cyberpunk,
Metro.
So you imagine they'd be.
Yeah, that seems like Metro would be at this thing.
Are you suggesting that THQ Nordic might just be piggybacking on Deep Silver at this thing?
Or that they might not have anything to show from their end of things, and
Yeah.
maybe the merger, like they haven't necessarily merged operations in a way that they would only have one booth.
Yeah. Possible.
And maybe they just really like soccer.
Yeah.
And chips.
Very possible.
I like chips.
Chips are okay.
I like chips.
I like the idea of soccer.
I don't like the idea of soccer.
I like the idea of a sport that you can't use your hands
I still just like chips.
What if you played like chess with your feet? Is that an Olympic sport?
in.
It's a feast.
If you could headbutt people, yeah.
Okay.
I liked
feast sport.
I liked the 06 World Cup being on European time because it was a good excuse to go to a bar and start drinking at 7 a.m.
No.
That was exciting.
Not interested.
That was exciting. Could not do that now.
Yeah.
That was
Just wake up and drink and leave the soccer out.
like drank from like 7 to 3, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and then the day was over. Let's see. Ezra from Melbourne in Australia. Brad's Super Mario Brothers stream inspired me to replay the Super Mario All-Stars version of the game. Growing up with the SNES, I always thought of the remake as the main version of Mario, as I never saw the original until much later.
Huh.
I think I prefer the broader colors of the SNES, whereas it bothers me how brown and orange the original can be. And I appreciate the detail they were able to put into the backgrounds, but some of the sprites look a bit worse on the Super NES. You can see how they tried to make the enemies faithful to the NES version, but the Goombas look a little strange, and I think Bowser looks kind of shitty. Also, some of the remake's music is questionable. Whose idea was it to put the main melody on steel drums? It sounds like garbage, and it reminds me of Super Mario Sunshine.
I like the steel drums.
I kind of also like it.
I'm okay with it.
I think my dream version of the game is basically just the original, but with more colors and a few more details like the clouds with smiley faces and things like that. What do you guys think?
It was Jaws' idea to put the steel drums in.
I think more clouds need more smiley faces.
Yeah, I guess
Absolutely,
so.
for sure.
Yeah.
It was like a bit of a shock. Like we all had this, like image of what the Goombas like really look like, and then when we saw them in like a 16-bit format, it was a little off.
They gave them those fangs, and it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
We talked about before that stream, like whether the All Stars version was viable. You were saying it plays differently.
I think the physics
just
are
like
just
very
just
slightly
different enough in a way that
Yeah.
it's not the genuine article.
That did not feel like it
Right.
would be.
I think
I was in the
think it's
same
great,
boat
though.
as this emailer. That was the only version I knew was from the All-Star Collection. And then I remember my first time actually playing the NES version. I was like, this looks like shit. But like, as I went on to appreciate it, I can see the differences. But yeah.
But I will say that Bowser in All Stars looks like fucking garbage.
Yeah.
I kind of want to play that version now.
Just
Derek,
play Mario 2.
yeah, that's also an option. Derek from Utah. Take your favorite Tony Hawk game, Pro Skater 3 for me, and add a Battle Royale game mode. A big skate park with people on skateboards shooting guns at each other.
I don't think you can skate and shoot at the same time.
You could add
Maybe you
special
can.
It's called
rules.
skate shooting.
You could add special rules like your guns don't work unless you're doing a trick, and the bigger the trick you do, the more damage you deal. I would much rather play that game than any of the current Battle Royale games.
I mean, Radical Heights has the potential to kind of be that if they do the bike stuff
Yeah.
in a serious way.
You have to grind on a box to open it, and a gun pops out.
I kind of like this idea, but without guns. Like,
Yeah.
make it a pure skating game, but in
Just
some
bail
kind
into someone.
But yeah, in
Yeah.
some kind of massive group format or something. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, you guys are
Yeah, how do you knock other
the
people
big
out,
Tony
though?
Hawk fans.
Well, I think you get the circle shrinking,
Yeah.
and doing tricks increases your resistance to the damage over time.
Okay.
And you have specialized zones that are worth more points, and so if you crash into another skater, you both bail and fall, and you're not getting points at that point. So like you keep like school, right? School is a hot spot because it's worth
Yeah.
a lot of points, and so a lot of people go there. But you have to be the best one there, or you can go try and work your way up in these little zones over there. I don't quite know how the end game works yet, but here's my pitch. I want $4 million.
Great, sold.
Great.
Okay, here's how you make that a game. I don't know. I can't tell you if it'll be a good game, but you do your trick combos, and when you end your combo, a burst of blue spherical light comes off the skateboard, and any other skaters caught in that light die. So if you do the biggest combo possible, you might wipe out the entire school all in one go.
Damn.
And that's your
You
combat.
should see it. Okay, as other players should see it building. Like as
Yeah.
you're doing it, you're like glowing more and more, and so they can try and take you out. Because
Yeah.
if you bail, you don't get the trick, you don't get the points, you don't get the explosion.
But that's not the problem you run into there is that actually that type of collision combat in Tony Hawk is not fun at all. So like you'd have to find a way to make the attack like or the defensive plays actually feel good and fun.
Yeah.
It's not give them a gun because like remember they did I think it was in 3. If it wasn't one of the later ones where like when you did a kick flip, a fireball shot out the front of the board,
Oh, sure.
that
and
was
a
3.
heel flip it shot out of the back.
Mhm.
It sucked. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It's just like lining up your shots just was not
Plus-
fun at all.
Darth Maul's already in it, and he's got a lightsaber, which is going to beat any gun.
So yeah, so maybe you just do a skate or die game, and then it's just the pool joust, but a really big pool with 100 players in it, and everyone's got their foam stick as they skate the pool and just bop people out.
Sounds like we got a game.
All right. Well, $4
Skate
million.
4.
$4 million for just, and then we'll get to the first milestone, and then we need more money after that.
Yeah. I'll be launching on Kickstarter, Fig, Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Fig. What's Fig been up to lately?
I don't know.
What's on the front page of Fig?
You want to know?
I want to know. I want to know what the hottest.
Was it Fig.co, I think?
There was a recent game that came out that was a Fig game that people kind of liked.
Let's see. Django with 23 days and 1 hour left.
Is that like Jenga? But
Maybe.
But you play as Rango
okay.
from the hit scene movie Rango.
Game called the Zoonosis Alien Infection.
I feel like I've heard the name, the term, I've heard the word Zoonosis before.
Kind of looks like an old 16-bit era logo.
Hmm.
Game called Eitherborn.
I thought their whole thing was they only had one game at a time.
No, apparently not.
Their whole thing now is probably maintaining a business
Sure.
at any means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figures.
Zoonosis is a retro-inspired top-down sci-fi exploration/survival game.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
Fig.
All right. There's your Fig check-in.
Thank you.
Kyle from Arizona. Sneaker check. What is on the Bomb Squad's feet?
I got
Shoes.
some
Fucking shoes I wear every day.
cheap ass Skechers.
Man,
New Balance
they're
for
comfortable.
comfort.
New Balance, huh?
I got these Adidas that I like quite a bit.
Oh, you mean
They feel like slippers.
Adidas.
That's the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I went to get new shoes on Sunday and went in there, and after about 90 seconds, decided to just buy another pair of the shoes that were on my feet.
Hell
That were
yeah.
worn
There you
out,
go.
which was fucking amazing.
Yeah, dude. I did
I've
that
done
for
that
the
a few
first time in
times.
my life. It's great.
So, if anybody knows when my AARP card is going to show up in the mail,
All day I dream about spaghetti.
that would be good to know.
Heavy boots. That's it.
Yeah,
what?
yeah, you rock some like work boots over there.
All the time. It's
Yeah.
weird. I
Jan just
think
put
I'm
his foot up next to his head
Yeah.
very casually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that.
Wow.
It's weird.
That's impressive.
It's my special skill.
Yeah, they're kind of like a dock worker sort of ensemble going on with the hat.
All the time.
I'm into it.
I like to pretend I'm a Mumford and Sons or boat worker reject.
Okay. Aaron from Houston. Super Dodgeball is one of my favorite games for the NES. It's also the only game where I expect to beat most anyone who plays me, which may increase my love for it. That said, what would a current dodgeball game look like, and what filled that space to keep them from existing?
I think about this a lot. I also like Super Dodgeball.
Yeah, it's a really good game that at the time, for a long time, I wanted more of it. And
Did you ever play that Gundam Dodgeball?
yeah,
I liked that one too.
yeah, this stuff's fine. But I always kind of come back to the original because they would bring it out. Like I want to say like GBA or something got some dodgeball like ports of this game, like same kind of with a downtown Neketsu, whatever. Crash and the Boys, River City Ransom, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was the one that basically had River City characters in it, right?
Yeah, I guess
Technos?
so. Yeah, Technos.
Technos, right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, what is there out there that's like that?
They made the perfect game. There was nowhere to go from there.
Okay.
There were imitators. There was the one that came out on the PlayStation 1. Similar look. Fucking terrible gameplay.
What's that? There was a game a few months ago that was a dodgeball game. What was that? Something Strike?
Is that the game that's like actually is like it's like a sphere, like a single
Yeah,
player?
you guys were checking it out.
Team based.
What was that thing called?
Striker's Edge.
Striker's Edge.
Striker's
That was it.
Edge.
Was that dodgeball, or did it just sort of look like it?
Is kind of.
There was some other dodgeball
Yeah.
game that we did something with like last year, I think. That
Does Windjammers count as a dodgeball game?
no,
No, it's a soccer.
it's a badminton-ish.
Dodge disc.
Well, you don't dodge it; you need it.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah,
you have
okay.
to undodge it. It is
Sure.
undodge
You have
ball.
to. You have to dodge. You have to dodge into the ball.
7-Up of dodgeballs.
The undodgeball.
That makes sense.
I need $4 million for my undodgeball game.
Sold. I have this money laying around for this game I was never going to make anyway.
Great. Let's not make this one too.
I hear it's a big business. Not making games.
Yeah.
Andrew from New York. I'm watching your last UPF, and as an orchestra teacher, I'm thoroughly enjoying watching your time with Labo Piano. Between Jeff's conducting and Brad's piano playing, I was impressed with how much musical knowledge you all seem to have. My question is, does this knowledge come from school or somewhere else? If you did play any instruments at school, what did you play?
I tried to get into band playing the drums, but I was enough of a dirtbag that the music teacher hated me and absolutely did not want me in band.
What did you do in music class?
I don't know. I just had a reputation or something, but I fucking paradiddled the shit out of that fucking audition, and no, did not get invited to play in band. I'm like, all right, screw you.
I failed beginning guitar in high school, and the only other open elective to hop into was journalism.
And you guys had guitar in high school?
It was just like a class, yeah, you could take.
That's cool.
But the teacher was a scumbag. He had on his shelf, he had something he called the urn of forgotten students or the urn of troubled students, and he'd like to pretend that the ashes of troubled students were in there.
Troubled students.
Was your teacher Paul Bearer?
Yeah.
He was a weirdo.
That's ridiculous.
I never liked practicing. I tried picking up instruments a couple times,
Yeah.
trombone, guitar.
Yeah,
Just
I
never practiced enough.
I played trombone for 2 years in junior high.
I went to. I
Just
think
didn't
I
play it outside of school.
I think I might have said on the show when we were doing that stuff, but I tried trumpet for like 3 weeks or something. Just couldn't get my mouth to make the right shape to make noise come out of the trumpet reliably.
Your embouchure
Yeah.
needs work.
And so I switched to a clarinet for about a year in the 6th grade.
Did you not play saxophone?
And then I played
Okay.
sax after that.
Okay.
Because it's a woodwind, so you kind of a lot of the same mouth technique from clarinet applies over on a sax as
I
well.
get what you're saying.
Plus, you can wear it around
Yeah.
your neck. That's cool.
Yeah, and then I played sax through junior high, and then tried to play it in the 9th grade, but in the transition from my really amazing teacher that I had for music in junior high, who was just fan-fucking-tastic. I hung out after school, like we just did like jazz band practice, improv stuff, like was kind of getting into it. And then I became a freshman in high school, and the teacher that taught band at the high school was a fucking prick, a fucking total asshole. Just a like hyper competitive, like just wanted his band to beat the other school's bands. It was like, yeah, that's music competition. That's fun. Like just fucking terrible, and just really sucked all the enjoyment and life out of it.
It's a bummer.
To the point where I started cutting the class. Like basically, I had a few like moments where I was just like, fuck this, stopped going. Didn't go for the rest of the year. Didn't drop the class until the very end of the year. Like my counselor was like,
Wow.
"Hey, you have not been going to this class
Yeah.
for most of the year. And I was like, it really took you a long time to say
Find
that. Yeah, no, I have not. That guy fucking sucks.
I did something similar. I came into my choir class one day and said, "Oh, I got switched to the like third period something else," and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll take you out of it."
Wow.
So I just had third period like
Nice.
to myself.
Nice. Wow. That's just a fucking administrative breakdown.
Yeah.
Mine was like a 0 period, so it was like you had to get to school an hour early
yeah,
to
for like
take
driver's
band.
wow.
driver's
Yeah.
eds or like
Ooh.
that.
And it just fucking.
No thanks.
But whatever. Like I would have done it. Like I liked it enough that I would have done it, and it just that dude was a terrible fucking teacher.
That is unfortunate.
And so I went back on the last day of school and went in and got my sax and left because it had been sitting there unplayed for that entire year. And I remember him saying something fucking snide to me
Of course.
as I went back to get it. And it was just like by that point I was like over it. I was just like, yep, no, you've doubled down on being a complete fucking shitbag.
Sounds like my
Fuck that
band
guy.
teacher.
Man. Fuck that guy.
That's rotten.
I know how to play the banjo and the ukulele.
What?
Yes.
Man, you got to bring a banjo in.
My friend
You have to
sat on
bring in
my
a banjo.
my friend sat on my banjo.
Is he
Oh,
really
no.
a friend now?
Well,
terrible.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That's terrible.
How's your kazooie?
Great. Keep it on me all the time.
Like 15 years ago, right after I moved to the city, Double Fine, which was in a parking garage at the time, was doing like a fire sale of like everything in their office because they were moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get to go over there myself, but somebody was like over there doing recon for me, and fucking somebody got a $10 banjo. Like right,
Son of a.
like I missed a $10 banjo by like 5 minutes, and I fucking now I can never touch a banjo. That has eaten at me all this time.
I still browse through Craigslist looking for a cheap one, but
Isn't it?
How much is it?
super, isn't
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
really
say, like,
cheap?
how
I
much
got-
is a damn
I'm
banjo?
sure a nice banjo is like, well, whatever. If
Banjo.
you're starting out, you probably don't
Yeah,
need a nice
starter
banjo.
banjo.
Like, I would imagine at least what, a couple $100 for.
yeah, I think like the price I occasionally see hovers around like 5 to 6
Yeah, I
for a
figured
nice
like
steel
a-
string.
I figured like a
Mhm.
decent one was definitely
Yeah.
going to be several $100s. What was journalism for you? Were you doing the school newspaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, school newspaper.
It was a trying time for us because we ran. So it was a zero tolerance smoking school, and somebody on staff snapped pictures of the principal smoking cigs in the parking lot in his car, and we ran that front page.
Whoa! Holy
as
shit.
as I was joining, this
You guys
was
were doing,
happening.
like real investigative reporting.
And he like came to us and was like, "You can't run this sort of thing."
Holy
and blah, blah.
shit,
and
that's amazing.
Our professor was badass. He was like one of my favorite professors I've ever had, and he was just like, "It's the fucking news, man."
That is amazing, man. I also did school newspaper, and our teacher just let us like play board games for 29 days out of the month, and then everybody like put the newspaper together in a class as fast as they
I'm
could.
glad that they taught you the actual rules of print journalism very early on.
Like, dude, I was in that class in '96 and brought my brand new N64 in there, and we played Mario 64 for like 3 straight classes.
Some gaming, like, I was doing a lot of movie reviews, so I was just like, oh, I'm gonna leave and go watch a movie downtown and then write a review, or like I'm gonna review the best pizza, and so just order a bunch of pizza to the classroom.
We played a lot of Risk in journalism class.
Journalism class where I learned what Linux was for the first time because it was full of nerds.
That'll happen. Okay.
And anime geeks, apparently.
No, none of those guys. Those were all in the
Oh, just the one.
just the one.
Blake in Athens, Georgia. I recently decided to trade in some dusty old gaming gear towards the purchase of a shiny new Switch. After handing over a Wii U, Xbox One, and a couple boxes worth of old games, I was thrilled to find my final cost amounted to just $1.25. The manager of the store, however, did not share my enthusiasm by the end of the transaction. He refused to look me in the eye, choosing instead to stare despondently through the glass storefront while an associate finished ringing me up. It's the first time I've walked away from a trade-in scenario feeling like I'd actually come out ahead. Have any of you experienced anything similar, and how did the other party respond?
Wait,
Like,
Wii?
yes. I'd kind
Run
of
it
with
down
you.
again.
Kind of with you. Wii U, Xbox One, and a couple boxes worth of. I guess how many games is a couple boxes is up in the air. But
Hey man, if you're
and
never
got a Switch in return.
yeah,
yeah, dude, if you're never gonna play those games,
mean,
like,
sure.
fuck yeah.
A Switch is $300, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have $300
Okay,
and you don't
Yeah.
want to play any of that shit,
man.
But
I
then-
trade in on like a Wii is not going to be much of
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Or
And
your
I-
Wii U
like a
even.
Wii U.
And I'm just gonna guess it was a launch Xbox One, which
yeah, probably.
like if you want to have an Xbox One, you don't want that one.
I guess. But if you have one, it's still fine. It's
That's
not
true.
like it's fucking broken.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair. Well, maybe they have a PS4. and
Yeah, or like
can play
got a nice
Sure.
PC or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, there's reasons to get rid of an Xbox
Sure.
One.
Yeah, I just that's.
It does sound like a lot of hardware for a Switch.
I traded 30 Genesis games for a PlayStation when that came out, and felt
That's okay.
really good at the time.
Depends on which Genesis games, but yeah.
And it was my like they would take any 30 is what it
Okay,
was.
okay.
So there was just like, give us 30 games and we will give you this. And so I like carefully selected what I felt were like the 30 games I
There's
could get
30
rid
copies
of.
of Clay Fighter.
Yeah. And flash forward a year from there, and I was in a slightly different financial situation at that point, and I felt really dumb for getting rid of all those Genesis games.
I have trouble trading in stuff too.
Yeah. And I think that was the last time I traded in anything.
I love it. I trade in games a lot. Yeah.
I collect them too much, and I've lost before, and I never want to have that feeling ever again. There was a flood. There was water damage. Destroyed most of my collection.
If you get rid of the games and don't have them in the house that floods,
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
you know,
It's
you're
true.
not going to run
If you
into
have
that
no
problem.
games in your
Then
house
there's
and you
no
have
love.
water damage from, say, firefighters,
Right.
you don't got to worry about a thing.
Yeah, I
Except
guess you're
where
right.
you're going to live.
Austin from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
I'll say that feels like a bad deal to me.
Yeah,
Nah.
my first reaction was like, I don't know.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, if he's never going to play
Yeah,
that
if
stuff
he's
again.
if he's never going to use any of it again, then sure, whatever. If it's worthless to him, then it's a free switch. At that
Enjoy
point.
Super
So-
Mario Odyssey.
It's pretty good. Austin from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Lunchables should not be warmed up. Discuss.
Agreed.
What about the pizza ones?
Ooh, I don't know.
No,
I
cold
don't
pizza's
eat those
great.
ever. Is the solution.
They're, they're pretty fucking bad.
Cold
The
pizza is
pizza
a
one.
wonderful thing.
The cold cut ones are good.
Are they like pizza crackers? Or are they actual
Yeah,
tiny
it's like a
pizzas?
cracker
They're
with
like dough. They're a little doughy.
Yeah.
They're like not crunchy, and then you've got some like very bland marinara sauce and big sliced mozzarella.
What are those things like the size of a silver dollar or something? They can't be that big.
Yeah, no,
probably.
yeah,
Huh.
just like
I've never had a Lunchable.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
I'd eat the nacho Lunchables a
Think
lot in
nachos?
6th grade.
Those are good.
I only had them as an adult. I had them here and there as a goof. They're not great.
Is one Lunchable enough?
Never.
No.
Never.
Okay.
They made
suspected.
Lunchables XL, I think, around the
Did they
time
really?
that I
For big
started
boys?
What's
eating
the
a lot of
fucking
Lunchables.
one? It's like maybe it's not Lunchables, but it's like uploaded, and it's got like a picture of Rob Dyrdek on it from whatever fucking
ridiculousness.
Yeah, it was like whatever TV show he had that was the one with like people were standing on it. He was standing on a giant keyboard, and they were watching shit from the internet.
Yeah, it was like Tosh.0,
Yeah,
but with
yeah.
a group. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. And they still sell them. I still see them at the Target. Like
Really?
it's like Lunchables uploaded, and like what the fuck does that mean with your
YouTube.
shitty fake food?
It means YouTubers.
It means YouTube, I guess.
And
Yeah,
kids love the YouTube.
Fucking, are people eating these things on YouTube? Is there a
Oh,
subculture
Lunchables
of
unboxing.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
If it isn't being done, we should do it.
All right.
I'll eat some Lunchables.
Mm.
I don't care who
I'd
knows
like
it.
to try
No,
some.
yeah, I would. I got no arguments
Let's get some
here.
Lunchables. I had a buddy, whenever we were in for a long night of drinking, he would buy himself some Lunchables because it was his favorite thing in the world to eat while drunk. Just
I feel like that would be a decision I would make if I was hunting for food while drunk.
right.
Like, no, we need to get these.
This was like a
Lunchables.
very pre-calculated.
yeah,
like, okay,
pre-calculating it to the point where you're like, you know that about yourself enough that you've done it enough times, so you're like, I'm just gonna get it now with all this other stuff because you know.
treat myself.
Yeah, that's living right there. That's a knowledge of self that I'll never have.
Here's a 2-part email from Bartek. I've been playing God of War, and one thing has bothered the heck out of me. Most of the mythical figures in the game, basically all but one, use their Norse names, yet Nidhogg is always called the World Serpent. Do you think that inconsistency has anything to do with the existence of the other Nidhogg?
We mentioned that we thought that the World Serpent was Nidhogg a while back, and multiple people wrote in to say actually they're two different things.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, there you go then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to look that up too because I had the exact same thought about like they're curiously not calling this guy the Nidhogg, but then yeah, sure enough.
On a more general note, I'm in love with the game. I would never want to come across as a party pooper, but even though it's a great game, the near-perfect critical reception is kind of depressing. In my opinion, the game is a very neat mix of current trends in gaming. I love Dark Souls, Bayonetta, the Tomb Raider reboot, and Destiny. God of War is a great extrapolation of core ideas in all of these games. However, am I crazy to expect games with reviews like these to be moving the medium forward? Shouldn't we expect more from games that get perfect scores? God of War is probably the best game I've played since Nier Automata, but I seriously doubt it will stay with me the way Nier did.
I think saying that this game is not moving the industry forward is grossly underselling it.
I think what it's doing is forcing other long-standing franchises to think outside the box. This is
I think
definitely
stuff
what they
like-
did with this.
That's the hope anyway. Is
That's
they
the hope,
at least
right.
show a path of like, hey, we made significant changes to our thing.
Yep, it
and
can be done,
Did not
you
make
know.
God of War 4.
Yep.
And it seems to be resonating with people. Like,
I had somebody close to me tell me they're in school right now and their professor brought it up in class. They were talking about like interactive narratives and they're like, this new God of War game is like playing a movie. And it's easy for us to like
I mean, I've heard that before.
be wrapped up around it. But like legitimately, this is, I feel like the closest we've come to, for me personally, a game feeling like I am, especially when I turned all the HUD stuff off.
Oh,
like,
sure. Yeah.
It feels like that, and that's like a huge advancement. The way you explore the world, I think, especially as you go later on, and the world kind of morphs around you. Like, I think that's stuff that other games can start doing.
Yeah,
well.
I think if this was a movie, this would be like a summer blockbuster kind of
Right,
popcorn
I
flick.
think it's-
I don't want to give it too much credit.
and I don't think that's something that necessarily has anything to do with like the weight of the narrative in the game, one way or the other. But it does. It is the big budget,
Yep.
flashy, mainstream appeal game in the same way that a summer blockbuster is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. Like I
And that is what
like
it
I
is, yeah.
understand. I understand why people would not like this game. Because like gaming has expanded in so many different ways over the years that, yeah, you're gonna have people that don't like that. There are plenty of people that don't like the mainstream blockbuster films.
Yeah.
And so it only makes sense that you're gonna have people that start to look for something else out of video games, and only want stuff that is doing different stuff than that.
Sure.
But it seems like Sony is really pursuing this. Horizon was this.
Yep.
In terms of the lane it's occupying, and I think you will have people that are very much into the idea of these huge ass big budget games and all this sort of stuff, and you have people that'll look at it and go like, yeah, it's this really expensive thing, but like, does it play well? Does it do this? Does it do this? That want more out of the mechanics or more out of the storytelling and that sort of stuff.
I don't know
I
if-
get it. Like I don't think it's necessarily like a big calculated backlash against it or anything like that.
No.
Other than that, like everything that gets wide critical acclaim, you're gonna have people go like, it's not that good. Which I might actually say, like, I don't know that I think it's that good.
I think it's a specific
I think
argument.
it's awesome,
The
but
specific argument is that it's good, but it's not like revolutionary.
sure.
That's kind of what he's saying.
I also don't
Like
think
I don't.
I mean, I haven't finished it, but
Specifically because he's saying like, hey, it's got elements of Dark Souls and Tomb Raider and Destiny, blah blah blah. But, like, I feel like
I think we're still, we're still at the end of generation remix. It's still they still have jobs. They haven't retired yet. So
I mean, A games are iterative, like all
Yes.
of them are. But B also, I think there is inherent value in like finding a synthesis of these ideas from different things.
Oh,
and
agreed. Yeah.
bringing
Make
them
it
together
cohesive.
into-
that is not valueless. Absolutely,
yeah,
that's
that is a way of moving things forward, is to take this and that.
even
and
if
put
you
them
just
together.
looked at God of War as like an effort of like curation,
Mhm.
or if they just like curated the best mechanics out
Yeah.
of a thing, like there's still value in that. But I think that is, even for what I've played, I think that's selling it incredibly short to think of it that way.
Yeah.
To say that they don't bring anything to it, and game narratives, like it still feels like we're getting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like.
It seems like a low bar.
It's,
I mean,
out there.
this emailer mentioned Nier as like the last one that had a big impact on
Yeah.
them, and I agree. Like I was personally thinking, I'm like Nier is the only other game in recent memory I can think of that had a similar effect on me, and that was like the story that Nier told wasn't inherently new.
Sure,
by
right,
any means.
yeah.
Like
once you see it, like once you hit that point in the story, you're like, okay, all right.
Even that year, I mean, between like stuff like Westworld and Blade Runner, like those
Sure,
themes even were being explored already. But what Nier did is it took that story and interlaced it in a world that grew on a lot of people and affected people in a lot of way, and that's not inherently new to video games. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, video games are probably the most iterative form of entertainment I can think of, just because like the act of playing a video game, there's only so many things you can do. There's only so many inputs you can make a character move a certain way. Like a shooter is going to be a shooter, and it's going to be like, oh, this is like either Call of Duty or another shoot. Like you can be iterative like that.
Yeah.
There are ways to advance it, but I feel like clowning on a game. I'm not saying this emailer is clowning on it, but there are people who are like, oh, this game's not doing anything new. It's God of War. It's just Dark Souls or whatever. Like that's just how games work to a degree.
I guess, but
Right.
like you talk about like the most iterative, but like you could start to point out a lot of films and just say like, here's another hero's journey, like that they've wrapped around a sci-fi setting.
like
or this or
every
that, or,
story
like,
has been told.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at some point, yeah.
But then you have that in games too. Like the
right.
The story
But
is,
you know, at least in games, that's an element of the overall package. If you tell a really good story and have a really bad game, you're gonna have people that are like, oh, well, at least the story was good. They can still pluck something out of it. But you'll have a lot of people that will just throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, fuck this whole thing.
True.
Because it's not doing a good enough job at presenting itself in a way that makes me want to experience this narrative that people are loving so much.
Yeah.
Or you
So,
get the
yeah.
opposite, where like I thought MGS5 was maybe the best stealth game I've ever played, but like that game has like pretty significant failings in the storytelling department.
Yeah.
And some people wrote it off
They'll
wholesale
fix it when Act
because of
3
that.
comes out. You'll see.
we just have to denuclearize
Yeah,
more.
once we need to build another set number of nukes and then then when Death Stranding comes out, you'll see.
Death Stranding is never coming out.
What?
I don't know. I guess I just don't think of God of War as like some like revolutionary sea change. It's just a really well made game.
Yeah.
With some really well executed ideas.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't have to.
I
It
don't-
doesn't have to be like this massive revelation.
It is not reinventing the wheel, but I don't think that's something that you need to put on that game.
Yeah. Or especially that's especially not something you should you have to expect from like the highest review scores.
Also, yes, yeah,
Like-
that's
like-
true.
Like,
Like
the maximum review score from a given outlet could just mean you have to play this.
right?
and nothing
The
else- nothing
idea
else.
of like it being a perfect review,
Yeah.
I don't think there are any reviewers
There's actually-
left
so
out
there
there
was-
that
there
are
was-
trying to run their shit that way. That's just not how. That's not what those numbers mean.
There was one more bit to the email I didn't read. He said, I had the same problem with Breath of the Wild and Mario last year. The thing is, I seriously love these three games, but I'm also a believer in the preservation of gaming history. And seeing the new God of War or Breath of the Wild next to Ocarina of Time or Skyrim just bothers me.
I don't think
That's a lot of value.
Yeah,
to
I
be
don't.
placed
I don't
in
agree.
like
these
the
types of
the idea
scores.
that Skyrim, the follow up to Oblivion, the game that is the follow up to Morrowind, like I don't think I would hold that in
Yeah, I
such.
mean-
I don't hold that game in such high regard to say that there.
Skyrim was the one where everything clicked for me, but yeah, they had been making that game for
Yeah.
10, almost 15 years.
Yeah,
at
I
that
feel like
point.
people like for as much as Oblivion was like really hailed in its day, I feel like people soured on it really hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. There was definitely a hardcore
Yeah.
like Bethesda fan base.
But no,
that felt
it's
like
it's
it
not
was-
even that.
Oh,
it's like,
sure.
In
Even
the
people
wake of
that
it,
like
it's
Skyrim better than
Yeah,
Oblivion. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
in a way that like I go like, okay, yeah, I mean, I would also agree that Skyrim is a better game than Oblivion,
Yeah.
but like Oblivion also did a lot to bring this style of game to console players in a way that like Morrowind tried to do and didn't really hit on all that well. And Ocarina, like keep in mind, like Ocarina was like the first of its kind in some ways. It was among the first of its kind in terms of solving these problems for adventure games or action adventure games in polygonal worlds.
I think Ocarina is a legitimately groundbreaking game.
Absolutely,
Like-
but like that's because that's what happened.
Yeah.
The technology changed at
Right,
that point.
right.
It's a product of the times.
Yeah, and so
Like you can't innovate like that forever. Like
and
this
we
stuff.
haven't seen like gaming hasn't actually changed that much in those ways of presentation since then.
Yeah.
The stuff that's happened has been more about like, well, what does it mean? And it's the thing that like people don't like to talk about because they like to post their fucking shit to Reddit about like single player game, but like it's what the internet has done to video games has been the next step in that. And what does a games as a service thing mean? And is it too far in the business direction? Can there be a way that is like really good for players when it comes to just like having these games be online and connected and all this other stuff? And if anything, VR is the thing that has the potential to be that next big sea change in terms of like, and I still feel like, having been out there looking, and people are trying to do narrative games in VR and trying to do all this other stuff, and they're hitting and missing and all this other stuff, but I still don't feel like I feel like I've not played a thing in VR yet that has been like an out of left field sort of like, wow, you have completely figured a thing out.
There's been like glimpses of that here and there, like for 5 seconds, you'd be like, "Oh, that was a neat trick that I'd never thought of anybody doing."
Or like you've not only have you figured this thing out, but also you have knocked it out of the park across the board in a way that Ocarina did.
Yeah.
In terms of like, here's your complete package, here's the blueprint for how we go forward. Instead, you get stuff that's like, oh, I see a little bit of like there's an element of this VR game that like, oh, this is really awesome. Someone should do something bigger with this. And you see little bits and pieces of that, but I feel like whether it's like the budgets aren't there, or just like I don't know what the creative, like people are very creative making a lot of stuff, so I don't think it's that, but like no one has really brought all that together for VR.
Yeah.
And after a while of thinking that way, I started actually breaking it down and wondering like, is actually VR and the way we control things in VR, is it actually just the next step of the Wii and the Kinect in terms of motion controls and fidelity of pointer accuracy and all that other stuff?
It definitely is from a technical sense, but
this just happens to be the perspective thing around it.
It's the being in it is kind of the big difference.
That makes it less about you pointing at a TV and more about you pointing wherever.
Yeah.
But it feels like I feel like more VR games that I've played have taken their cues from that era of motion gaming instead of kind of forging a path.
Sure.
Though I guess like that Gomon game came out before Ocarina, right?
Yeah.
So, fuck, man.
Maybe
they figured it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe they actually figured it out before Nintendo did.
Konami.
Yeah. That health club company.
How many more emails can we do? Wait. Was there already an Austin from Fort Wayne, Indiana? Does that sound familiar?
My life's a blur, Brad.
I feel like there was. After listening to last week's discussion on Sony and Microsoft's respective backwards compatibility strategies, I wanted to remind everyone that there's a reason why Microsoft is knocking this whole backwards compatibility thing out of the park. Xbox backwards compatibility is made possible through the same Hyper-V virtualization technology that runs on top of Windows Server 2016, Microsoft Azure, and Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Put more simply, your Xbox One is just booting up an Xbox 360 virtual machine each time you run an original Xbox or 360 title. Microsoft is currently the number 2 player behind VMware in the data center virtualization market and has roughly 10 years of experience in the area. By comparison, Sony has 0 experience in the area and probably sees little reason to invest the time and engineering resources it would take to get something like this running on native PS4 hardware. In my opinion, we will probably never see an official backwards compatibility offering on the PS4 outside of PS Now, especially considering the fact that PS Now isn't even doing emulation on the server side. The servers are just racks of motherboards with 8 PS3 SoCs on them.
Yeah.
So,
however they get it done, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had totally glossed over that fact, or I had forgotten that's what they were doing.
Right.
I actually fired up Hyper-V for the first time over the weekend and like made a Windows 7 VM just cause.
Nice.
That's what you do on the weekend.
Yeah. No, that's yep. I've had weekends that go similar to that.
Yeah. Sometimes you got problems you need to solve, and you need an old OS to do it.
I would say that I wouldn't have necessarily expected Sony to do much more on the PS4.
Yeah.
Whatever they do on forthcoming hardware.
The next one, maybe.
The next time they make a big pitch in terms of just like, here's our next big thing.
Yeah.
That's when I would expect them to potentially change the story around that stuff. But
Sure.
but yeah, I guess maybe they might not even have the expertise to get it done.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. A couple more emails. John from Orlando, Florida. It's been about 2 years since Radiant was bought by Riot Games. If they managed to salvage some of their work to put into their new game, do you think E3 would be the time they announce what it is?
I just want it to be now. I don't want to wait for E3. I want to know now.
Is there a game?
There's gotta
are
be.
they making a game?
They acquired that team. That team was known for one genre.
That
Yes.
team also came with like tech, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the GGPO stuff.
I don't know if that
Couldn't
was
you
rolled
just
up
buy
in it.
GGPO though
Like-
if you really just wanted that?
Yeah, which they didn't buy GGPO.
Really need to buy that whole developer.
But it is still like the people, right?
True.
It's the cannons,
Yep.
that made GGPO. So, like think about it in terms of like Riot
If
is
you're
out there.
just buying that tech though, you just buy those guys. Unless those guys
Just
were
buy
like,
the- just
no,
buy
you
the
got
tech."
to bring the whole
Right.
team.
It's just some point. It's just like, hey, this is our company. Buy the company,
Yeah.
and bring it on because they've got employees. They've got other people with them. So
As far as I know, those people are still there.
yeah, yes. So hard to say. I don't think Riot announces games at E3 because I don't think they have
Right.
to. I think Riot exists so far outside the traditional system for the video game industry that like seeing Riot at
They announce
E3 would
something at
seem
Worlds.
fucking weird. Yeah. Yeah, they've got their own audience built in already.
They're already getting 1 million viewers
Right.
when they do
don't,
those.
They don't need E3 for that.
Unless they sign an exclusive contract with one of the major publishers.
yeah, which
and,
is-
fighting
the-
games are well, not way better, but very much centered around consoles.
Right.
That could happen.
I just wonder, like, does like a League universe fighting game do anything in the console market though? Like, that's a different audience.
In
I
terms
think it's
of
big enough
if,
to like. I know about League.
But do you care about League though? That's the question.
And enough that I've installed it 7 times and uninstalled it because I can't do the commitment. But those characters are cool.
yeah, so I the hardware makers, I think over the years, it's probably waxed and waned, but they have definitely, I feel like there have definitely been times where a Microsoft or a Sony would have gone to Riot and said, whatever the fuck you want to do, whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
If a League side game, can you do League of Legends for this console? Like, I'm sure that like Riot has been asked that by those two companies hundreds of times by
or
now.
like guest characters, like put Teemo in this thing, like even as small as that.
Maybe, but it's probably more like no, it's probably more like, hey, do a game,
Yeah.
do
Well,
a game
you
for
would-
our box.
You would do that if you were then going to do a game,
right,
Like, you would
yeah.
tease
And
it.
it's I think they've been smart to not put League of Legends out on fucking consoles because that's a bad idea.
Mhm.
But I bet that there has been a lot of time spent on if we were to make a League offshoot game that could live on a console, what would that be? Oh God, we're petrified of the idea of what if we put this out and it doesn't work? Then are we a one-trick pony? Is the bloom off the rose for League at that point? Does it hurt our League
don't think
story
so.
if we can't follow up on it successfully? So, and I think the stakes are maybe not that high, but also Riot's a game Riot's a company that has killed more games than they've shipped.
Yeah.
And have like soft launched games under different company. Like they've done all kinds of fucking weird shit. And pulled the plug on stuff because they're like, oh, we don't think this is going to be the next League. If anything, they seem timid and scared of their own success. But I bet, and I don't know if this is still the case. I would assume it would be because League is still fucking huge. But I bet either one of those companies would love to do any kind of exclusive deal with Riot on a game.
Totally.
Whether it's a fighting game with League characters, whether it's an adventure game that fills out the lore. Like years ago, they were hiring writers to come in and write more lore for League.
Well, they've recently started doing like more in-depth character lore stuff.
Yeah.
They like rewriting lore. I remember there was a big controversy that they rewrote some characters' lore. So it does seem like, they're creating this universe, and it'd be
Right.
silly not to do something else.
Like you don't
with
do
it.
that just to have a page of text in the League client somewhere.
They
You
can't-
you do that because you need to build that universe so you can capitalize on it, either whether it's in games or in other
They
media.
can't wait forever though, right?
No.
Like, nothing lasts forever. Like
No.
it feels like they're maybe pushing their luck a little bit.
I mean, that's the thing. That's where it gets hazy for me
Yeah.
because I feel like no one talks about League anymore.
Yeah.
But that's just my view of things.
was gonna ask,
obviously
like-
League is still fucking
like
huge.
you're
Still.
probably plugged into MOBAs enough to know. Like, do you feel like there's any drop off at all?
It's
Like,
hard to tell if there's like a
viewership and stuff like that.
drop
or-
off.
I don't think so. I feel like it
don't
just
think so either,
maintained.
yeah.
Right? Is it just?
Yeah.
I
sort
don't
of
think it's
plateaued?
growing necessarily.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
plateaued.
if you like League, you still like League, right?
Yeah.
But also, if you like League, you might not play anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
very
friends
true.
like
Because
that.
that's League, right?
Mhm.
I think that's why it can exist like in this weird realm where it doesn't really enter our world that much because it's off doing well on its own, appealing to a type of player that might not play a ton of other games, and thus might not interface with the rest of like the video game world all that much.
Yeah, I mean, I have a buddy who plays a lot of League, and the only other consoles he has are like a PS2 and a GameCube, and
Right.
it's just like
Yeah.
League, and
living-
like a couple little indie games here and there on his
He's
computer.
living
but-
his best life.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But they released the server stuff for Rising Thunder.
Yep.
Which we should really get a hold of and try.
Wonder how much we can tinker with it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
we add some characters. Yeah. I want to add Goku. And then 9 more Gokus, because every good fighting game needs at least 9 Gokus.
At least 9.
And then take it to Kickstarter.
Yep. We've got the 9th Goku in our game. Please back us. We will use the money to get the rights to Goku.
That always works.
Right now, his name is Monkey King.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. Like I said, either way, I don't think Riot announces a game at E3 because I don't think they have to.
It's a long shot for sure.
Unless they have done a deal. That's the only way, and then it's on stage, and then it's like, oh shit, why is Riot on an
Why
E3
is Teemo
stage?
coming out?
Yeah.
As far as we know, that whole team went to Riot, though, right? Not just those
As far as I know.
two guys.
Yep. Yeah. Seth Killian is a
Yep.
At last I heard was a Riot employee.
People who made fighting games are at Riot still.
If you're listening and you're at Riot and you're safe, let us know.
Let's go to Facebook, marked as safe in the Riot acquisition of.
All right, last email. John in Colorado. If Drebin points were a real cryptocurrency, would you get on the crypto train? What if you could buy a smoking monkey with them?
Yeah. Only if that monkey will drink Coke.
I don't know, man. He's just funneling all his crypto proceeds into the war economy.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know if I can stand behind that.
the war economy pays.
Right. Oh, actually, the last thing I say about Riot and this acquisition, just to close it, is like they said they were building their own separate internet.
That's true.
Like the idea of getting some people who have been really good network
Networking.
wizards.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you pay the price to bring people like that in if you're really serious about building an
Decentralized
entirely
internet.
separate internet to play League on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking that up. That was 2016
That they announced that
that
stuff.
they said that stuff.
But then you acquired the GGPO, and I don't think they've.
Well, they acquired, like, what was it?
I
It was
wonder.
the game used a next generation GGPO solution, right? So maybe they actually acquired the follow up to GGPO, and the only thing that's still licensable is the original GGPO.
Oh yeah, I wonder.
I think that's how it went. At one point, I had that stuff cold, but it's been a long time now since all that acquisition happened, so I'm a little hazy on it. But my understanding is that they didn't necessarily use just straight up off the shelf GGPO in that game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because they already had a separate licensing business for that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's it for emails. Bombcast@bomb.com. Unless you guys have any emails.
Oh, I just really want the fighting game.
I could
I
check.
think that would be amazing.
What you got?
I could check. Let's check my email here. Anything I can read out of this email?
What is this segment called?
This segment is called. Let's see.
This segment's called Let's See.
Let's see.
with Jeff.
You're invited to the Xbox E3 2018 briefing at
Yeah,
the
I got
Microsoft Theater.
I got that one too, and it always feels weird not RSVPing.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of changed up our stuff,
Guys, I'm going.
Here's a meeting request. There's a sale on some sunglasses.
Ooh.
Let's see. There's a package here from Amazon
Whoa.
for me.
Sounds
There's
exciting.
a sale on home furnishing at Costco.
Okay.
What's this segment called?
We'll find out.
All right.
Welcome to We'll Find Out. All right.
eBay's updating their user privacy notice.
Great.
I don't know where my phone is.
I think I'm going to be on satellite radio again next week,
Oh, hey. That sounds fun.
tentatively.
All right.
Seriously, where's my phone?
What are you going to talk about?
Labo and God of War, maybe. I don't
Who
know,
are
unless
we
anything
talking-
happens between now and then.
Who are you talking to?
This segment is where's
Lord
my fucking
Sear.
phone?
Who?
Lord Sear?
Lord?
Lord Sear.
You're going to talk about the Astros doing the Fortnite dance after every win?
I am not.
Because they do that now.
Yeah. No.
It's
All right.
the
Fortnite,
waggle
I think
dance.
Fortnite came up the last 2 times I was on
That's-
Shade 45.
That sounds
so
like our cue to end this podcast.
yeah.
Thanks for listening.
They do like
Save it
the
for the after show.
Yeah,
bubble
you guys-
dance.
Call in with your questions about the Astros on the after show, which if you're watching live, will be following this shortly.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm probably not going to leave this room.
Oh, man.
Me neither. I didn't bring a
No-
lunch.
No lunch today, huh?
I
I
gotta get my
have a
laptop.
lunch.
I
It's
gotta.
right here.
All right.
Just do it.
Just
All right.
all your Craig Biggio questions, line them up. We're ready.
Get excited.
If you guys find my phone, let me know.
All right.
I don't know where it is.
Plenty of material to cover here shortly. But for now, thanks for listening to this podcast. We'll be back with another one next week.